giving away about 20 kilograms there.
So Salmon, the bounce favours him. Winmar slightly spoiled him, but Salmon wins it. Comes back to the centre circle. Hawthorn go forward. Platten gets the first kick. The ball was thrown out, said the umpire. It'll be a St Kilda free kick, and quickly taken by Jason Cripps from the centre circle. Inside 50. Big pack gathers. Everett!
Sensational jump at it, Drew.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's been picked up in a moment by big Stevie Lawrence, but wasn't able to take his run. Salmon pushed hard back into defence, but couldn't stop the jump at it, and a great start for St Kilda.
St Kilda going in as favourites. They've had a good pre-season, couple of wins in the Ansett Cup, and lost to Carlton, the eventual winners, by 10 points in the semi-final. First shot for goal for the night.
He's just missed it, Drew. He's missed it off to the left-hand side there, and the breeze pushing across the ground. A bad miss, really. The big fella would have liked to have got that through with just under a minute play in the first quarter.
Yes, by this stage on Thursday night, Melbourne had a goal set up by Gary Lyon.
Always nice to get an early touch.
Oh, it was magnificent, mate. It was great to have you back. Hawthorn working it out of defence. Pritchard from half-back flank to centre wing. Chance for the mark to Crummell. Dropped it. Platten. Clever play by Johnny Platten. Woods. Inside 50, Hawthorn. Dunstall caught up the ground. And back to defend is Hudson, the Queensland recruit. A centering kick to the goal square. Chance for the Hawks. Great hands! Oh, bad luck. Harford controlled it by hand beautifully, but kicked astray.
And he little shove in the back there, but he got away with that. Pity he missed the snap. It's good to see Tony Woods missed the kick a bit to Jason there, which is a pity, and they're setting up for a kick in. It looks like St Kilda are sort of zoning out towards the members' side.
Disciplined play there, though, Ned, by the snap kick back into the centre of the ground.
Yeah, and they're very good at that.
Justin Peckett kicks in, and here's Hudson, Max Hudson, making his AFL debut at age 20 from West Brisbane, who were the premiers in the QAFL last year. A juggle, and the mark not paid. Now Salmon has it, conceding some ground to Scott. Back to Salmon.
Who's kicked that underneath him then?
Nathan Burke got it for the Saints. The dangerous Harvey sweeps a hand pass wide to Winmar. How about that? Burke, Harvey, Winmar to the goal square. Here's the fourth one, low.
Just missed off to the right-hand side there, Drew. Interesting there, Robert Harvey, just with his tag at Tony Woods, was running very hard offensively. So you take a big punt there when you're running hard forward of the play.
Now we watch behind as Hawthorn worked the ball into play. This is Angelo Lekis, who played 3 games last year in his debut season. Platten at centre wing. He was closed down by Aussie Jones, and the ball out of play.
There was a bad kick then, Drew, from behind the goals here, and a great view. You could see Johnny Platten had a heap of space, and they basically popped it up, not out in front of him, and they got the St Kilda had another chance and pushed it over the boundary line.
He's got to make a step up this year, Leckers. He's been around the club for 4 years, even though he's only 20, but that's a long time in this day and age to be, well, basically at one league club. You really, Ned, they seem to turn you over inside 2 years if you don't make the grade these days.
Well, especially in disposal, Dermy, as you know, you've just got to hit the targets these days to name the game.
This is Cook up against Salmon. Oh, Salmon wins it down beautifully. And Aaron Lord, the former Geelong player, gains some meterage and the ball back out of play.
They're very happy to pick up Aaron Lord. They thought he might give them a little bit of, well, a little bit of a goal-kicking ability and a second option on the ball for somebody, because they thought that Hudson had strayed a bit from that objective last year.
Clean possession to Salmon, their best and fairest last year. Well, is that a fair tackle? The ball held in, rules umpire Stuart Wen.
Hasn't
ball it up.
Woodsy's taken a step up. After leaving Collingwood, he's got a lot fitter, and he was fantastic last year, and what a great tagger he is.
Close to the boundary line. Salmon goes Hawthorn's way, but Robert Harvey, the danger man for St Kilda, off the left. And terrific play by Barry Hall, the boxer. Put his teammate under pressure. Platten tackling brilliantly. Fierce opening here to this game at Waverley.
Dermy, Barry Hall there, he's a big, strong bloke, and they're expecting a lot of him. I think if he can play well at centre-half forward, it'll loosen up Stewie a little bit back in the full forward area.
Also give Peter Everett a chance to play on the ball and be a pinch hitter in the forward line instead of playing a solid roll down there.
Salmon dominating the ruck duels early in this game. The kick round the corner by Hudson. Juggled by Lowe, couldn't complete the mark. Jones taken down when he didn't have it. Crowd want ball. Kept in by Hawthorn. And they run it out. Lawrence. Kicked by Lawrence to Platten.
You see there that the kick actually hit the mark, but it was a tumble punt, and that's one area where Stevie Lawrence really should still improve himself.
The kick to the 50, and the defensive mark has been taken by Troy Gray, the ex-Sydney Swan. Towards the outer side, and they've worked that beautifully to Everett. Everett drawing a man. Kick short of the 50. Spoiled by Pritchard on Zilla. Low. Went to ground in a good tackle. Daniels floats the hand pass to Everett inside 50. Back to Jack Daniels.
Not a bad attempt from Jack Daniels there. Not the greatest finisher in footy, but I tell you what, Dermot, the amount of latitude that Stevie Lawrence is giving Peter Everett just at the minute, he'll need to tighten up, and it's a bit of an unfamiliar role for Stevie Lawrence.
But the one thing, Gary, that Lawrence took the kick out here, and Everett really didn't chase him, and basically in football terms, he seemed to cheat his way over to the other side of the ground.
Well, yeah. Mark Graham's kick was not good. There's a chance there for the Saints, but they plumbed it. And now Scott. Twin brother of Chris Scott from the Brisbane Lions. Harvey marks on centre wing. Well, he's had it on both sides of the ground, Robert Harvey. Everett at centre half forward. Lawrence a spoil. Burke. Jones putting the pressure on. Can he retrieve the footy?
Great numbers, Hawthorn. 4 and 5 at the footy there. Just fantastic backing up.
Yeah, taken out of it by Graham. It comes back to Graham. They work it through a chain of hand passes. Through Chick it goes. Hassel. Now Lord. Bouncing to half forward. Dunstall moving beautifully. Back to Platten. Dunstall 80 metres from goal. And this mark is still outside the 50. Taken by Crawford. He sets it up. Harford with one hand. Still with Daniel Harford. Another snap for goal. Dumps him. The first goal.
Well, Craig Kelly seemed to come into he just drifted in from the other side there, and it seemed to be a 2-on-1 situation.
He certainly did. I mean, he shouldn't have got that ball. I think Nicky Winmar was the other player down there. But it was interesting. I've never seen Jason Dunstall lead so far out of the 50-metre line. Normally, he's around this area, so obviously he wants to get into the game pretty quickly. You saw there, I mean, really, St. Kilda should have done that better, punched it clear, and it was a great finish, though. Get around the corner and get the score in the top left-hand side of the screen there. You can see the score continuously, and the clock. It's fantastic.
Now, Craig, you've come back from a serious knee injury. Is it almost a situation where you will a bit of contact just to get you mentally over the line for the start of the game?
A lot of guys say they've got to get crunched early just to feel it, and it's fantastic that you get amongst it. So it is very, very important.
Back in the middle. And it's Salmon facing Cook. Cook, the ex-Fitzroy player, came from Broken Hill. Salmon killing him so far. Down to Burke. Straight up the ground. Off the hands past Everett it goes. Grabbed by Pritchard. Well, he's put under pressure, and lucky that didn't go out of bounds on the full.
Played a free kick against Barry Hall there. Great pressure from the big fella. That's what coaches look for, the forwards to put pressure on, and well, he's a bit unlucky to have the free kick paid against him.
Good bit of physicality.
Big, strong lad.
Hassel, short pass, and there's Barry Hall, who gave away the free kick and took the mark.
Well, that's what you need to do. You need to follow up, Drew. If you make an error, you go and try and get it again.
Everett. The punch by Lawrence. It comes to the front. He picked the right option then to go back with the hand pass. That was Cripps to full forward. Oh, Daniels couldn't take the mark. Off hands to Scott. Graham. Harford working well at both ends of the ground.
Harford just on top of Winmar just at the minute.
Holland to half forward. Peckett punches away.
Chick just slipped over then as he was leading for the ball, and Peckett right on his hammer and just punched over the boundary line.
Gary Lyon, the big fella Everett, he seems to be getting his hands to a lot of them. As you said, he is looking a bit dangerous.
He is, and what they're doing is they're bunching up in the middle of the ground there, and they are spreading out, making a lot of room for Everett and Lowe. They did fly together on that occasion, something that Stan Ells wouldn't appreciate too often.
You'll notice the clock ticking up. We're approaching the 10-minute mark first quarter. Hawthorn with the only goal. They're kicking with the breeze in the first term. Ball and Crummell.
And And Drew, I don't know if many of the viewers know, but Hall broke his thumb in the last practice game, so he's out there with a broken thumb. It obviously might be a bit strapped. We might be able to get a shot of that up close. There it is there, and you'll see that he broke in the last practice game and is doing extremely well with that.
Not too bad, Ned, because you played an entire career with a broken cranium.
Thanks, buddy.
From the boundary throw-in, Burke will be the last up with the football. The opposing coaches, and the season has just started, and look at Ken Judge.
He's not too happy with something there, Drew, but that's totally understandable.
Cook and Salmon. Salmon, I reckon's nearly won 100% of them.
He's just so good in the bounce downs and the boundary throw-ins where you get to stand next to your direct opponent because his body's just so big.
Great mark by Platten just inside the line from Treleven's kick. And now Tallis. Your mate, Dermy.
Yes, nice fella, young Raiden. Harford again. Well, Nicky Winmar needs to tighten up.
Here's Daniel Harford not going for goal. Unmarked Johnny Hassel up from the back pocket. And the Collingwood recruit, he thought about going on and kicking the goal. You've seen him kick a few, Ned.
I tell you what, Johnny was in two minds then. He always does that. He's a fantastic runner from the back pocket. Great pick-up to replace Andy Collins, but he was going to take off then. He's quick enough too, but this will be 50-50, this one.
He gets it.
Well done, Jack Hassel. It's great to see him. I really think Collingwood perhaps played him in the wrong position. He had a fantastic season in the back pocket. They then tried to play in midfield on a tagging type role. Really didn't like it, and as you can see there, I mean, he's run down all the way, gets the second ball here, and finishes with a score.
Well, it's amazing, Craig, that when a player plays a good game in a certain position against an opposition, when that player's, well, these days are numbered in another club, the club he played that good game at invariably pick him up, and Johnny Hassel cut Johnny Platten out of the game once, and that's where he's ended up now.
Yep. Playing on the wing would be a new role for him too, Dermot, rather than defence.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got Aussie Jones manned up at the moment.
Well, Cook wins this, but straight to the opposition. Tallis. Lord. Crawford. Dunstall. Once again, unselfishly, gives it up to Tallis.
Dermy, in the pre-season comps or in any of the pre-season training, Jason must be one of the quickest over the first 5 or 10 yards. Just watching them from behind the goals, flies out of the blocks. You just can't go with him. Having played on him quite a few times, it's nightmarish.
Well, you watch the guys who are the super players of the league in full forwards, you know, Ablett and Dunstall and these guys. They're a big conundrum. They're big guys who are just abnormally quick over the first 10 yards.
Great view from behind the goals here, and it's a beauty for these new camera angles in Sports AFL. You can see the kick there went straight through. Jamie Shanahan too is probably one of the top full backs in the competition.
He's quick enough himself, but Dunstall just gets away so quickly. I remember once there was a study done with Pat Cash, and he was meant to be the second quickest man over 15 metres that was tested in Australia. And he came down and did a couple of pre-seasons with Hawthorn, and I reckon Jason matched him over the first 10. So he is just abnormally quick. Forget his size, he is abnormally quick for any stature over the first 10-15 yards.
Cook and Everett have changed in the ruck. Dermot, Cook down now in the forward pocket.
Well, a goal to Raiden Tallis, and Hawthorn are 3-0 kicking with the breeze. And against expectations, Saints came in as favourites. Tallis got a hand pass. Up the ground, Salmon doing brilliantly.
Great hands.
And the pass out low. On the bounce. Chick. He was put under enough pressure to put the kick wide. Holland goes back. Harford's been magnificent. High ball. Can Dunstall fly for this?
Interesting, Drew, in the call. Already Harford's been damaging. Tallis has kicked a goal, matched up against two of the superstars of St. Kilda in Winmar and Burke. So those guys aren't intimidated at all.
Watching from behind as Peckett kicks in.
Interesting to see that kick that went into the goal square there, Craig Kelly. Jason Dunstall, although he is quick, although he is still quick, he's lost a bit of spring there.
Yeah, didn't get up very high at all, Dermy.
Now here's Zilla.
Great shots looking down the ground here. Plenty of space for St. Kilda here.
He worked it up to half-back before he got rid of the ball. Traianides gets the hand pass away. Unsuccessfully. Harvey slips the tackle. Finds Burke. Kick by Burke. Low camped underneath it. Jones overran. but very well done. The hand pass back comes through from Cook. Jones after it, trying to keep. Well done. Graham hasn't got it out. Kept in by Trianides.
Great pressure down here applied by the St Kilda forwards. It'd be one of the pleasing things for Stanells at the moment. Although they haven't got a goal on the board, they're working very hard. Outnumbered too. Hawthorn tend to push back with numbers and outnumbering the St Kilda forwards.
Stewie Lowe's listed, Gary, at 106 kilograms, and young Mark Graham, he's about 84 at the moment, so giving away plenty.
Yeah, and doing well in the body-to-bodies, Dermot.
Daniels, number 34, pulled off his kick. Hassel finds the boundary line.
That attempted snap kick forward by Jack Daniels there. He actually missed his foot. In my years at Sydney, I reckon I saw him do that on a few occasions without pressure. He's not the best kick in the world, Gary Lyon.
No.
I play golf like that.
No, but he's got one on the board, and that's all that matters.
Too true.
Everett in ruck. Well roved by Nathan Burke. Beaten by a vote in the Brownlow last year. This is 40 metres from goal. Grips. Off target and a behind.
The minor score again there. Just the delivery to Stuart Lowe hasn't been great at the minute. Obviously the pressure of the match is it's a little bit scrappy, so I expect the game to open up a little bit, and that's when I guess Graham may be under a little bit of pressure.
It's Mark Graham kicking in, going straight up the ground. Woods now out wide to the half-back flank. Harford asked to do a lot of work, and he's doing it manfully on Winmar. Well played, Daniel Harford. Oh, terrific stuff. He didn't come up with a clean posse, but it's up at centre wing.
Well, a lot of people at Hawthorn, when he was picked up in the draft a couple of years ago, he was about 6th or 7th taken overall, first for Hawthorn, and Hawthorn, well, they couldn't believe that he didn't go in the first 2 or 3. They thought he was the best player basically in the pool, and over the last couple of, well, last year especially late, he really showed that he has lived up to that standard.
And given the number 5 Guernsey, Dermot, that's a pretty good indication of the standing that he holds at Hawthorn.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a Woods free kick for the Hawks. They're with the breeze, and they've kicked 3 goals, 3 to 4 behinds. 3-2. Is that a free kick? Play on, the advantage. Harford once again into Dunstall. Needs a rover. He's got one of the best, Johnny Platten. Couldn't hook it around far enough.
Just covered a lot of ground, Johnny Platten, Craig Kelly.
He has. He's actually playing down here on the half-foot flank now, and he did move very quickly, as usual. I mean, Johnny Platten around the front of the pack is fantastic. Probably would have liked to finish there. Again, Jason just contesting, bring the ball to ground. Out to Harvey here in the pocket.
Harvey to Burke.
Both teams zoning up from the kick-ins, and neither seeming to employ any set tactics on the kick-in for their side.
Kick by Nathan Burke for Everett. But Salmon was lurking to spoil, and that kick by Aussie Jones is out on the full. No, not quite. It's off hands.
It's interesting you said that, Jeremy. A lot of the sides, both kick-ins I've seen here, the few I've seen with St Kilda here, they've kicked to the pocket and are looking to go into the centre area to go down the middle of this ground, but perhaps a bit nervous to spot the first kick into the middle.
Matthew Young on for the Saints, and Cook is taking a break. He's absolutely been killed by Salmon. Salmon gets the hand pass to Treleaven. Kick to full forward. Holland or Dunstall. Dutchie's got it.
No, it's great work there by Jason Dunstall. You might see on the replay here behind goal, with the camera from behind goals, Jason actually saw that Nick Holland had the sit on Troy Gray, and then just held back a little bit, and it was a 2-on-1 contest, and Nick's taken a good grab. He's very important, obviously, to stand up this year and kick a few goals, because Dermy, one of the things that has let him down has been his ability to convert. Yeah, well, you watch on the kicking action when he does come in, he brings the ball up very high, and there's a big distance between the drop of the ball at the peak where it is in the hand and the contact on the foot. So, but he looks to have done all right there, and Hawthorn are getting away to a great start. And Jason Dunstall was standing in the goal square there, right on the line with 2 hands up in the air, obviously making a bit of a line for Nick to kick at, and he put that one through. It was a great play. All the space in that play was out to the left-hand side.
Great shot here, great shot here at the space they make, shooting down the ground. Yeah. And you'll notice again Jason just holding back, and that's an eyes-up play there from Jason Dunstall.
Do you see how Holland ran back to that space there? That's because Dunstall dictates to the on-ballers basically where to kick it by leading to, well, the opposite side of the ground. And a player like Holland doesn't take him long to cotton onto it, and he goes to the same well for the same sort of drink. So he catches the ball where Dunstall's led.
Can Everett do better on Salmon? No, the Fish wins again. Winmar for one of his few touches. Off the left boot. Perfect kick to Everett, who contested the centre bounce, got beaten and went forward. 55 metres out low. Oh, should have taken the mark. In the bucket hands. Trianides is there on the forward line. Matthew Young, former Hawthorn player, just on the ground. Daniels spins out of trouble. Spins back into it. Young. Very high kick. Winmar, it's yours. Oh, I'm glad it was his and not mine. Paul. Low at the back. He's got to beat two. Can't quite manage it. Graham gets the kick out of defence.
Terrific work for Drew. Crumble just covering there for Graham, who was caught up the ground. And now, as we see down the ground, Johnny Hassel running the ball out.
Absolutely double team Stewie Lowe there.
Yeah, it's great work.
Lord and Hassel share it. Lawrence back to Lord. This is great play. Leckis. Woods kick smothered by Winmar. They've turned it over in midfield. Neil Elvis goes back in for it, but it'll be a baller.
You could see Hawthorn trying to work the ball by handball to a situation where they could get a man who wasn't under direct pressure and get a kick while running straight forward. But it just gave enough time for the St Kilda midfielders. They just congregated to that area. Just gave them enough time to, effectively lay the smother.
Hope you're enjoying the telecast live around the country on Sports AFL. We're on the AFL logo centre wing. The Hawks have started great guns. Kick up the ground by Trelevin. Bounces through to Holland. He runs through 50 and should kick this goal.
And I'm right amongst the Hawthorn supporters down here, guys, and they've gone berserk. It's a great start for them. And Nick Holland, I thought he perhaps was even going to take a bounce then, but kept running and kicked the ball. It was a pretty stiff bounce Troy Gray got then.
It certainly was. He actually looked like he thought, sat at the back there, Craig Kelly, and thought, gee, I hope this one's going to bounce over the head, and it looked like I read it very well.
That's what you used to do all the time when I played on you.
Yeah, they rarely used to go anywhere else though, Ned, you know that.
Isn't it interesting, Dermot? Holland there chose to have a shot on goal. Minutes earlier, when Everett perhaps had the same shot, chose to go short to low. So good choice by Nick Holland then.
Well, the Saints went in as favourite. I know Hawthorn have the breeze, but they've kicked 5 goals to nothing at the 22.5-minute mark. Everett wins in the middle, but Salmon's going to get it. Well, the only 2 times a St Kilda ruckman's got the ball, Hawthorn have finished up with it. Well, how do you describe that?
That's just not pretty football, you can guarantee that, but both coaches would be happy with the desperation shown.
Harvey to Cripps, but his hand pass was poor. Gray goes off the ground across the half-back line. Might be happy to see this out.
I tell you, Dermy, Justin Crawford has just worked and worked and worked. You'll see he's on the boundary line there now, and his hands are on his hips, but he went in very, very hard then and then chased up right over to the boundary line. Yeah, they're very happy with Justin Crawford. They think he's going to be a much, much better player than he was at Sydney Swans.
Hawthorn tonight missing his older brother, Shane Crawford. Harvey couldn't get a clean possession. McLaren had a bit of a touch. There's Crawford in heavy traffic. Lord.
I tell you what, if you blew the siren right now for the end of the game, Salmon would win the best and fairest. At the moment, he's best on ground right now as we speak. He's been superb, Paul Salmon. And young Harford, he's been sensational also. Hawthorn just seem to be dominating in the midfield at the moment.
Well, they've come out ready to play tonight, the Hawks. Well, once again, Everett got a hand to it, but Holland got the football. That's goal! Juggles the mark, no mark paid. Trelevin's there. Daniels to Burke.
Just built free, Craig Kelly in the impact there.
It did, yeah. He almost had it. I thought it was a mark from behind the goals, but no, just great hands then.
Well, that was magnificent play by Matthew Young, and it's finished with Trianides. In between wing and half forward for the Saints. Young was a revelation last year when he got a chance at St Kilda after not many at Hawthorn. Daniels, and he's got Jason Cripps. Turned his opponent inside out. Down to Lowe. Well played, Aussie Jones. St Kilda's first goal. Yes, sir.
He read that beautifully, Gary Lyon.
Yes, he did, and that's his bread and butter, Aussie Jones. He's got to be at the feet of Stewie Lowe. Well, Stewie hasn't had much of the footy, if any, at all. He will always cause a contest and will always force the ball to the front. He won't get out marked too often. and Aussie Jones ran onto it beautifully. But it was the first time in the match that St Kilda were able to move the ball quickly and catch the Hawthorn defenders one out, and the result is a goal.
Do you think that Stewie should just place himself in front and just try and mark the ball rather than, try and lay body on body with Mark Graham? I know he's a lot bigger, but Graham's just one of those gangly types. He's got arms the length of the goalpost. He just gets it away.
You're right, Dan. He's got to get on the lead a bit more, that's for sure.
Oh, Salmon beats Everett again and knocks it 20 metres up the ground. Burke's got it for the Saints. No man's land, centre wing. Treleaven, well done. Harford, one of the best. Missed with a left-hand hand pass.
He just tried to dish that off a little bit too quickly when he saw Everett come in, and he obviously read Everett's intentions, and looking at the replay there, they were pretty clear because he cannoned straight into him as well.
I'd have a touch of the heebie-jeebies if Everett ran at me, I can tell you. Burke. Inside 50. This time for Stuart Lowe. Look at Graham, wearing him like a glove.
Yeah, he's an interesting player, isn't he, Dermot, Graham? You'd think he might be out-bodied, but he hasn't been, obviously, and he's got the pace to go with most forwards.
He's like a Michael Tuck. He's wiry strong. He's not, muscular strong. He's just wiry strong. Strong from the elbow to the point of the hand, He's just got that little graspy strength on him, and he's very versatile and quick.
He's twice the worth of Michael Tuck. He's 34. Tallis. To centre wing. Aaron Lord. Very skillful player, Aaron Lord. Crawford. Back to Lord. That'll be a free.
Just caught him out of the corner of his eye then and ducked the head as he saw the tackle coming.
Held the play up, though, so it was an important free.
Yep.
Dunstall leads to the pocket. The kick in that direction. Well done, Daniels, to get in front, but Dunstall's got the football. Shanahan going nowhere, Jamie.
Drew, just then you would have noticed Daniels filling up the gap and getting in front of Jason. Probably one of the criticisms of sides that have focused on a good full forward is that as a half-backman you can fill into the gaps and create less space for those forwards to run into. Nick Holland might have been a better option out on the other side.
Temper's fraying and Jumper's almost fraying. Give Everett that one. He roves his own footy. Oh, where was that kick going? Straight to the opposition, and the tallest man in the opposition. Salmon to Woods. Daniels drops the mark and gets a free kick.
Yeah, you have to pay that one. You got enough purchase on that one.
Just a poor choice from Daniels there. He's always keen to handball, but just didn't pay off then. Straight to Salmon again.
Through Leckis it goes. Lawrence. No penetration in that kick, even with the breeze. Well done, Matthew Young. Gee, I liked his season last year.
Eyes on the ball then, Drew. It was fantastic.
Good athlete, Matthew Young. He plays out for handicap net of about 4 in the golfing world.
Not like you.
44.
Here's Stewie Lowe. Once again, he can't take a mark. And Graham's clearly taken the points. Jones. He's kicked the Saints' only goal. Recruited from Beaconsfield. What a perfect kick. Harvey on the 50.
Excellent vision there, Gary Lyon.
Yeah, great kick around the body, and he's working hard, Aussie Jones.
Oh, this is a beautiful kick as well. And Troy Gray's drifted up from defence.
Yes, he's taking Nick Holland on in his own game here. Nick Holland, of course, a very, very fit athlete and a hard runner. And it's good to see Troy Gray taking the initiative to run hard forward and on the right side for a left footer. So we should have a good look at this, I would imagine.
He's a big kid, Troy Gray. He came from, I think it was Canberra originally, but he's a very big athlete. As you say, he's a very good athlete, but he's a big, strong kid. So hopefully, if he can, pin himself down at central posse, he'll be a valuable player.
Ooh, and the kick, Stewie Lowe claps. A goal.
Very important one right on the bell there. Just going 2 goals for instead of 1 for is just a good psychological advantage.
80% efficiency with handballs, which means they're finding their target, which is giving their target a chance to move on and kick the ball without much pressure.
Cook still on the bench for the Saints, and Everett wins in the middle when the bounce favoured him. Jones has been a live wire. Very good. Harvey inside the 50. Low again. Graham again.
Once again, Oh, almost deliberate. Once again, you can see then that the you know it's going to stew in you. If you're a smart halfback like I used to be, you'd always fall into that little hole there and you get some easy kicks.
That's Brad Scott there. Brad Scott making his AFL debut. His brother Chris, his twin, plays in Brisbane.
He's been around a while for Hawthorn and went to the supplementary list and back onto the senior list this year.
Graham a fumble to his opponent low. Harvey out of the pack. Can't rest the ball clear. The boxer Hall was in there. Kick smothered. Lawrence worked well in that pack. Burke. Gee, it's fierce. It is round one. It's a long way short of the finals, but they're playing it like a final.
Ugly footy, Craig Kelly, but just what you want for if you're a coach.
Yeah, very ugly. But Stevie Lawrence run through some people then. That's a bit scary, isn't it?
He's unfound God.
He's lost him.
Off the ball, there was a bit going on there.
You just feel out here, being out amongst the crowd, you can just feel the intensity of the St Kilda boys. I reckon they've been given a fair bake at quarter time by Stan Els, and interestingly enough, Lowe, Harvey, Burke and Winmar all very hard at it. I wouldn't be surprised if the boys just got a bit of a touch-up at quarter time.
Well, we were watching Tallis and Burke, and the free kick was given for ruck interference against Salmon. So Everett with this free kick, 45 metres from goal, Breeze at his back, should kick it.
Straight through the middle. Beautiful kick. Yeah, we'd like to see that infringement again. I mean, those rucking duels are very interesting, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, they can really cost you. But, I mean, if they're there, you've got to pay them.
Well, how's that? Tell me, where is the free there? I mean, that's, I reckon, if one of the rules they can change, it has to be that one.
Well, the umpire suggested that Salmon's right hand hooking around Everett's left bicep held him down. But there's Peter Everett, 4 kicks and a total of 6 disposals for 7. Well, near enough to 70% effective. So not too far off the mark, Peter Everett. He hasn't seen a heap of the ball for a ruckman, but he's out there doing his best.
You hate to see those free kicks paid where that one was paid, though.
Absolutely. But you've got to pay them if they're there, Drew.
Here's Winmar, who's been kept pretty quiet. Harvey. Young. Gave it up to Woods. Zilla. Tackling in this game is fierce. Tallis the hand pass out.
It's a change being made down here on the Hawthorn forward line. Glenn Coglin's come on to pick up Dutchy Hollanau after being very effective, and Troy Gray seems to be loose across half-back.
Theoretically, Hawthorn should get more of the ball in the centre of the ground then, if St Kilda are dropping one back into their back line.
Burke breaks from centre wing. Well done, Young. The outside of his foot, a clever kick. Nobody there to pick up. Scott. Run down by Traianides. Scott again.
Young's bit of play then reminded me of Peter Dacos. He would have kicked the goal if that had been the case in 1990. But great bit of effort there. It was followed the ball up and a bit unlucky not to sneak it through.
Probably should have taken the grab, Ned, don't you think?
Oh, gee, your heart.
Exactly.
Daniels to Jones. McLaren in the goal square. Salmon tries to juggle a mark. Woods out of defence. The wide line will do him.
I just think Tony Woods tonight's been a little bit slow to get the ball on Dermy. A couple of times he had the ball smothered in midfield, and then he really just couldn't get onto the boot quick enough.
Yeah, first game of the year, just a little bit of player awareness. He'll build that up over the next few weeks. But you mentioned Tony Woods before. Even his body shape has changed since he's gone to Hawthorn. He seems a lot harder and, well, a lot more muscular than when he was at Collingwood.
Couldn't get any flabbier.
Zilla to Winmar. A high ball. Low outnumbered 2-1. Salmon. Oh, well, that was dangerous. He found Brummel.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if I'd done that, I would have got dragged. I reckon you've just got to make sure you've got it or punch the ball and get it clear.
That was the push handball over the top as well.
Let's have a look at this shot. Plenty of space now. St Kilda a bit slow to get into the zone there.
Johnny Hassel at half-back. Backs himself and wins. To the centre of the ground.
Craig Kelly, you see Johnny Hassel's kick there. That's probably one of his real weak points. That just ballooned it up in the air.
Yeah, he just turns the ball over a bit, but his evasive skills you saw were fantastic. So just get the disposal, will be right.
Aaron Lord delays the hand pass. Chick, run down by Peckett.
delayed it, Drew, or telegraphed it. One or the other. I think telegraph might have been a better description of that one.
Yes, you'd have to have a word to Aaron after that, Gary, if you received that one.
Absolutely. Plenty of room here for Glenn Coghlan now, the transitional play.
Oh, poor kick, though. Tallis in front.
Now, that's the thing. That is the reason that Glenn Coghlan hasn't been able to cement a spot in this team.
Kick by Raiden Tallis. Now, he finds a man in plenty of space, and Harford's had plenty of football.
Not much room down here. Big Peter Everett filling in the hole, so Jason hasn't got too much room to go to.
They'll have to go to Holland then, won't they, Gary?
Yeah, they've got to go long, and he's on the lead, which makes it a little bit difficult, and they're going in that direction.
Good spoil by Coghlan. Hand pass through the pack. Hawks a chance. But Aussie Jones, great play.
Superb effort by Jones there. He read that the handball was going to come wide and clear the pack, and two Hawthorn players, and he basically put himself right in between them and just kept pushing the ball boundary line side.
75% effective rate there for Aussie Jones, which is not bad for an on-baller.
He's nearly their best.
Yeah, just about have to name him their best at the moment.
Everett from behind. Woods ducks his head. Now St.Kilda coming out of defence. Gray. Winmar set a task. Got to beat two. Can't do it. Scott.
Oh,
Lawrence.
This could go anywhere, Drew.
I once saw Steve Lawrence win a game for Queensland, a state of origin game against Victoria, and he belted Jim Steins in the year Steins won the Brownlow.
That's right. There's no doubt that Stevie Lawrence can play footy, and you find most premiership teams usually have the dominant ruckman of that season, or at least the final series. And Stevie Lawrence was that player in 1991, but he's fallen apart a bit since then. Hence you see him turn over the ball. I called it one kick too soon.
Yeah, but you mentioned earlier, Troy Gray's a loose man back here. It's just interesting. You might want to explain for the people at home. Hawthorn must have a corresponding loose player somewhere, and if they don't use him up, well, it's just a waste, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think it's Raiden Tallis is sitting back at the back of the square, and he's just pushing off the back of the pack. He's about 30 yards to Salmon's left off screen at the moment, and he's just loitering around there.
Crummell paddles the ball to Lord. Pass for Dunstall. He might have changed direction better in previous years, but it was a tough assignment. Hassel does well. Well done, Johnny Hassel.
Here he is. He's that man again.
Well, it's hard to beat a bloke when he hasn't got an opponent. Troy Gray.
I've even seen Craig Kelly play very well when he's playing against no one.
This is Hudson, the Queenslander, making his debut at the age of 20.
This is a good sign for Hawthorn if the player with the ball holds it up and says to the rest of his team, where are you all? Nobody's leading. Hawthorn, as the opposition player, you love it when they do that. It means nothing's happening.
There's been only one goal this quarter. That was St Kilda. So Hawthorn haven't scored a goal for a while after a great start. Chick tries to go off the ground. Treleaven. Here's surely a goal coming up here to Aaron Lord.
Just a very clever kick. Sorry, Dermot, but it was just a very ungainly looking kick, but he knew what he was doing, just kicked into space, and I hope we get a replay of that. That was a real smart footy.
Do you reckon it was to Lord from this end? It looked like he was trying to go to Dunstall.
I think it would have probably hit either one, actually, in the end, Ned, so it's a doubly good kick.
I tell you what, down here, when the came into the St Kilda forward line, Stewie went outside 50. There's no one down here. They've just got no one else other than Stewie at the moment to have a sort of goal.
Lord gets the goal.
As you made mention then, Craig, Stewie Lowe, I believe, is the best man overhead in the league, but he really doesn't think his way that greatly around a football ground. He's probably better suited to full forward where you don't have to, well, read the ball that well. The ball funnels into you. So, I mean, once it comes to a situation where you've got to work out the direction of the ball, how it's coming in, where the kick's going to land, how to get to that right spot at the right time. St Kilda's forward line doesn't seem to be, in football terms, overly intelligent. Hence, they all bunched up then.
Exactly, and Stewie's actually gone out to centre-half forward, and Hall's gone to full forward. Stewie, Lawrence, and also Graham's followed them.
Coghlan and Holland, as we saw on screen there, having just a little bit of an introductory passage there.
And Gary Lyon, Crummell's the man dropping back in Hawthorn's back line now, the corresponding loose man to Troy Gray for St Kilda.
Okay.
Harvey did well to get boot to ball there. Salmon the hand pass. And the Saints move it. Here's Troy Gray playing on no one and having a picnic. Good penetration with that kick, with the breeze.
There's Crummell float across the front of the pack there, hence no man as well.
Yeah, look, it's a battle of wills in the end, Dermot, isn't it? I mean, it's whether you can get the most effectiveness out of your free player. And at the moment, while St Kilda are winning the ball well across half-back, when they go forward, as you say, there's just no one to go to.
Well, Troy Gray's going to get more of it because it's spending more time in Hawthorn's forward line.
Robert Harvey took it away from his opponent magnificently. The hand pass in. Andrew Thompson. Ball back to Lowe. Winmar or Everett, and it breaks away from them.
Just on what you were saying, Gary, is that I really believe that perhaps Hawthorn, even though St Kilda have got the loose man, there's probably more options for them to find guys, whereas Crummell can just fill into that gap in front of Stewie or Hall at the moment.
Well, one thing, Jason Dunster will lead and break up the, the big congestion in the forward line. He'll take his opponent away from it or to the right spot.
And the full.
Thompson had a go at that one, out on the full, but pretty clever to try and make something out of nothing.
Yeah, you try and manufacture something when there's 40 blokes standing around the ball. There's not much chance for anything else.
He's waited a long time for his debut. He's 24 years of age and playing his first league game tonight.
Good luck to him. Just for the people, you can't do that. The man on the mark who's come back 5 yards, he's giving you a little bit of an advantage because there's no room. What a fantastic grab by Crummell there. He's giving you some room, so you have to oblige the umpire and kick over that man on the mark. You cannot go sideways if the man on the mark's giving you 5 moves. But Crummell's kicked on there, and Hawthorn have moved it up pretty well now with Treleaven handballing over the top.
And Crawford gets it back to Treleaven. Dunstall, Hawthorn coming from behind Aaron Lord. Burke did well, but it's gone to the Hawks. Holland's kick across half forward, and here's Daniel Harford again.
Yeah, again, they had the option of Dunstall or Harford, and Dunstall, Jason just pulled out, probably saw that Harford was going to get there a little bit easier, but Holland, in that instance, just losing Glenn Coglan, taking him into the play and losing him in traffic.
And Hall's coming off here, which is unusual. I thought he's been doing quite well. His thumb might be playing up a little bit. Another jab in it may not hurt.
You see St Kilda's efficiency there with the foot. They're not really finding the mark. They just seem to be bombing it up as Harford comes in and he nails another one into the coffin there. Well, not so much the coffin at this stage of the match. Only 13 minutes gone in the second quarter, but he's really leading Winmar to the ball at the moment, especially when Hawthorn are going forward. If you watch here, he's probably got 5 metres on Winmar when the ball makes it over to him.
Yeah, he's just taken that extra step, hasn't he, Harford? He's now becoming a key playmaker. You have those couple of years where you just find your feet and you're given a bit of leeway, but now he's starting to make his mark on this game.
He's only about 18, 19 years of age, Gary, but he thinks like a 22, 23-year-old that's been around for a lot of games.
Sure.
He's another one from the Northern Knights production line.
How many have they got out of there?
Oh, unbelievable. There's Gray getting another kick to centre half forward. Through Lowe it goes. Comes back to Stewie. The high kick. Everett is one out. Lawrence leaves him. Can Everett get there?
Once again, Craig Kelly, you see that Stewie Lowe went forward. He bombed it up in the air. St Kilda are so used to having Everett and Lowe forward, and they just bombed the ball up in the air. And if it doesn't get marked, it basically is an inefficient kick because the forwards just spoil it away, and they're really falling down in a forward setup or plan at the moment.
Lawrence in ruck. Thompson!
Oh, minor score. It was a lovely little tap down and little snap, but unfortunately to the left of goals. Be interesting to see how Hawthorn set up here, because we saw them out here a week or so ago and they really kicked in very, very well, and they're going short here to Woods.
And popping the hand pass over the top. A run from Lawrence. Now Johnny Platten.
Oh, he's hit him lace out. Well done, Stevie Lawrence, on the wrong foot.
Still at about half-back flank. Over centre wing. They're into the breeze, the Hawks. Coglan a punch away. Ball fished out by Daniels to Jones. Low. At last. He's fired off the hand pass. McLaren. Everett push, was he? No, Salmon.
Fish did well to get back there and get back onto Everett because they had him one out.
He overestimated Aaron Lord's pace there a little bit.
Back to Winmar. Kick by Winmar in the direction of Lowe. Again.
He did that well, Stewie. I mean, they led into a bit of a gap. Oh, we'll reverse this. Thanks very much.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
Against who, Nick?
Which is the sort of thing you would have done, didn't you?
Oh, no, mate. Once you're having a shot at goals, you just leave them unbelievable. You treat them like they have got the worst BO of all time, and more often than not, Craig Kelly, you were there, so it was true.
Here's Paul Salmon sprinting down the wing. Pass check. Peckett.
Just going back to that reverse free kick, I mean, Stewie Lowe was seen even last week, he can be quiet for a period of time, but once he gets his confidence up, he can kick goals in a hurry, and that is just a real big blow. If he had jailed that, he may have been on a bit of a run then. That's a costly mistake.
Loves being in front, doesn't he, Gary? Once he's in front, you just can't get around him. He's like a man mountain.
Yeah, he's a confidence player.
There's another decision being changed here because it's something to do. I think Stu or someone might have said something to someone.
I'm not quite sure whether the runner was involved.
The runner might have been, yeah, the runner came up and it's been reversed.
Well, we might find out, and Gary Lyon, you can give us the up-to-date ruling on that because they change the rules every 5 minutes at league standard now, so you can let us in on the up-to-minute ruling.
I would love to, mate. The only thing I can suggest is that maybe the St Kilda runner got too close to the play there and they just plucked the free kick out, but I'll be guessing a bit, as the umpires do at times.
But it's worked in Hawthorn's favour, so St Kilda are 2 blows there.
St Kilda a chance.
Call this one as you see it, Gary Lyon.
Oh, well, mate, it's very, very tight. There's a heap of players around, and the artist. Oh, well, I was just about to say the artist, Robbie Harvey's going to get out of trouble here, but he got pinned by Justin Crawford, and that's just great pressure from the Hawthorn forwards. And as a forward, I guess that's the thing that really does give your team a lift. And if they can get a goal out of the pressure they applied here, then that's almost worth 2.
There's a time and place for everything, and look, if you try and twist and turn and beat 4 or 5 of them, there was 4 or 5 of them there, you're not being that smart if you do it 20 yards from goal.
No, you're dead right. He's good enough to beat 4, but 5, no.
Well, boys, what do you think about the chances of number 23 for Hawthorn kicking this goal?
Well, I haven't seen 23 pop one through for a while, and it looks all right from here.
Oh, I think he's might have missed the left-hand side, Derm. He only had a 50% effective rate going into that kick, so do we class that as an ineffective disposal?
Well, if we win by... if the Hawks win by... I'm a member for both clubs, actually, but if Hawthorn wins by a point, that is a very effective point.
They must rate young Justin Crawford to give him number 23, your old number.
Yes, they didn't even consult the old bloke sitting next to you, Drew.
Shanahan in trouble in the back pocket.
Yeah, just took a punt then, the young fella. I mean, they had the zone set up. It was a 2-on-1 zone. Probably the right choice may have been over the top of Shanahan then, but Harper took the punt and he's forced the boundary throw in, still in their attacking half, which is an important place to be.
St Kilda came out pretty hard this quarter, but Hawthorn have just quelled them a bit.
Yeah.
He's playing a great running game, Harford, which is pretty hard to do at Waverley. If you run around this ground a few times, you feel it.
There was a time in 1992 Hawthorn were in a real slump, and they played 6 games in a row out here, and it was muddy. And in the end, Johnny Platten went to chase Lazer Vidovic in the mud, and Lazer ran away from him. And right then I knew that they were real leg-tied.
11.
Well, we've got a bit of a stalemate down here, and often in these sorts of situations you look for someone to come over the top perhaps and punch the ball clear of this scrimmage of players. So I'm not quite sure what they're setting up for that, but it's often not a bad ploy.
And also, Gary, sometimes too many players go to the ball rather than pulling away from the contest.
Exactly, Ned.
Hawthorn attacking inside 50. Around the corner goes Pritchard. Dunstall took 2 down with him. Here's Harford again. Open shot for goal. Terrific kick.
He's got some real class, Gary Lyon. The other thing was, we were talking about the boundary line throw-in then, and if you spotted where the ball was going to fall, Nicky Winmar stood 15 metres goal side of that pack. Exactly. Daniel Harford stood 15 metres the other side. The ball went forward, came out quickly again, straight to Harford. 30 metres away from his opponent, simple goal. Yeah,
dead right. Ned Kelly called it right there. He had the presence of mind to pull away from the pack there, and the ball did spill free, and he's kicked his 3rd goal from the wing on Nicky Winmar. He's having a big night, Daniel Harford.
You probably should think about moving Winmar away or into a defensive role where he could be the loose man in defence and let him use his creativity rather than being responsible for somebody who's really running forward very well.
The goals are coming in bunches. Hawthorn the first 5, St Kilda the next 3, now Hawthorn the next 3.
Half it again.
Half it wins it out of the middle once more. Oh, the punch comes to Gibson. Little short kick by Gibson out in front of Dunstall, who palms the ball out for a teammate. Dunstall goes to ground heavily on that knee.
Oh, he's paid trailing the ball here.
Hand was caught behind him and just a little tap forward there with, well, no second hand making contact.
Dunstall on his own in the pocket.
He has got it. He has made it a little bit more difficult, but I think Johnny Hassell's working on the assumption that Jason Dunstall with 1,000 and something goals against his handful might be a better bet even from the pocket.
How many goals, Gary, exactly?
Has he got 1,000 and something?
1,179.
Thank you, Drew.
He's right up there. I don't think Johnny, well, I don't think he'd have 9 to his total, actually. But even then, Jason on the tighter angle is probably about 400% bigger chance to kick it than Johnny.
Oh, it's going to be a live ball here.
The breeze across him from there. Oh, good.
Aaron Lord marked out in the pocket. And that is one of the great sins. A shot for goal. I think defenders sometimes just relax a bit, think it's going to be a score, and don't pay enough attention. And this is the stuff that, well, Stanhouse would be pulling what little hair he has left out of his head.
And that's across the face of goal and through for a behind.
A little bit relaxed there when he ran around Gary Lyon. I know that if ever you get close to goal like that, those opportunities are, well, they're as rare as hen's teeth. You've really got to concentrate on putting those through.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you're not that sure, just to hold the ball and maybe wait for something to happen.
Yep.
Hawthorn has zoned up beautifully here too, by the way.
The Hawks by 29 points. 22 and a quarter minutes into the second quarter.
Now I've got to stick up for Johnny Hassell before Dermot. He's actually kicked 12 goals for his career.
It was 3 out just from an estimation there.
2 in 96.
But he's doing very well, Johnny Hassell. He's getting to the fall of the ball and using his pace to beat his opponent.
Oh, Salmon, what a magnificent tap to Crummell. Kick by Crummell disappoints.
Out in the full, actually hit the point post on the full, but Crummell's the loose man coming down from defence, so he's 100 metres out of the back line then.
What a virtuoso performance by Salmon. What a perfect tap out.
Oh, he's just playing superbly.
You can see with this shot, they're kicking a very congested area down to the big blokes, and Brett Cook does well here.
Cook out, Mark Salmon.
No, you give him a rap.
Yeah. Burke, over the head of Thompson it goes. Neal, taken out by Leckus.
I just don't understand St Kilda. I really think that, I know they've got to get the ball down the forward line, but Stewie Lowe just gets he's so lost up at centre-half forward compared to full forward. And who would you put on it? Did leave Graham there if you had Langford back, Dermy?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you'd leave Graham on him because when he's lost out there a little bit, you know Graham's going to run off him and really damage him and hurt him.
Ball in midfield with Salmon. Crunched down by Cook. McLaren. Dropped by Lawrence. Now, just right in front of you, Ned Kelly. I mean, yeah, we've got Winmar and Harford near the goal square. Are they still playing on the wing? What's going on there?
No, I think you might find they've moved down here, and Stewie's coming back to full forward as well. Obviously, they need Harford get away from the Hawthorn end to start with.
So is that a St Kilda move to get Harford away from goals?
I would imagine, yeah.
Picked up by Harvey, ridden into the ground, pony style by Johnny Platten. Ooh. But in the back, said the umpire.
Well, there'll be a chance here, Nicky, if he can...
A little bit of screening going on down there.
If you can see that on the screen, you'll see the screening that was going on by, and Stewie's going to get this very easily. The screening going on by Nicky Winmar, and Stewie just got away from him, Graham in the end, and it was just because of Nicky standing in the way.
Just looking at that, Stewie Lowe's yes, he's very down on the effective rate, but it was the old 2 leads there, Ned. He led once, sort of acted as if he was going back to the square and led again.
But yeah, and Nicky just didn't even watch the ball. He was, so, I mean, forwards, you guys normally squeal, so us backmen will for that. That's terrible.
Stewie Lowe for
He's
goal.
missed that one.
Oh,
Even as good a player as he is, Stewie Lowe, he really is a confidence player, Craig Kelly. You've played on him before, and you would have felt great when he started to pull his kicks a bit like that.
Exactly, and I reckon once he gets the first couple of grabs, like you say, he's dangerous. But tonight he's struggling.
now Pritchard. Oh,
bad
straight
kick.
to Nathan Burke. Now Burke is going to be kicking with the breeze, so he should get more distance than Pritchard got. And he puts it out in front for Lowe.
Everett. Now, it was interesting then, with the kick-in, St Kilda went to what I would say almost a man-on-man situation. I don't know if Gary picked that up. I was just watching where the kick-in went, but everyone seemed to be trying to find a man, and once you turn over then, you tend to have a couple of guys free.
Yes, I think it was just a terrible kick in the end. He had two St Kilda players and kicked with the middle one, but here's Peter Everett. Got a great look at this.
3-second goal of the night. No.
Now, if you actually got to see that, Craig Kelly, you see he's a left footer on contact. His right shoulder, if you drew a parallel line through his shoulders, his right shoulder is about 12 inches lower than his left, which means his head tilts to that way. He's going to pull the ball that way.
Do you want me to get a computer?
Well, there's a lot of technique in kicking the ball, and some of these blokes just don't understand it.
Well, the kick in by the Hawks once again went straight to Nathan Burke. And now Thompson, Andrew Thompson. He's on the supplementary list last year, formerly with Old Melburnians in the amateurs. Here's Winmar now on the forward line, but Harford keeps getting it on him. Hassel, being hassled by Aussie Jones.
This will be a good battle of pace here.
Well done, Aussie.
Just with Harford and Winmar, as we've got a ball up on the centre wing there, Harford's been so damaging, would you leave him on the wing, or would you let him go down there to fullback? As we see the effective rate there, the kicking of St Kilda way down at 44%.
Yeah, well, they've been turning the ball over. They've been spraying it up in the air. But Harford, look, he's been so damaging on the wing. You've got to keep your match winners in the spots they're winning at.
Another Saints chance.
Oh, Fish.
Should have gone the punch, Dern.
Well, actually, in that one from behind here, sorry to butt in, Drew, but you might see that really he shouldn't have even had a contest with Salmon, because if Graham should have just stood in his road and Salmon would have had an easy mark. And I mean, Salmon as a floating backman who comes down should go for the grabs. In that situation, nearly 9 times out of 10.
So you're saying he should have just, put himself in between the fall of the ball and Salmon?
One, either or either. I mean,
Lowe's first goal.
Graham should have done that, or Fish should have. But I mean, I think Fish was in the right position to mark the ball. Graham should just try to get in between, so Paul Salmon had the chance to take a grab.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Ned. Perhaps Mark Graham could have even called the punch from Fish as well, if he felt that he couldn't beat Stewie Lowe. So either communication or a bit of teamsmanship by Mark Graham there, but you know, things like that help you learn the game. So we see Hawthorn just on the smaller side of a 4-goal lead at the moment. They're still playing pretty good footy, but actually the ball hasn't been up into Hawthorn's forward line for some minutes now.
The Hawks have kicked 3 goals to 2 in this term into the breeze, but another one by the Saints late in the quarter might help a lot. Thompson shares it with Jones. Now Burke. Thompson again. Jones, a clever flick. Peckett way up from the back pocket. Stewie Lowe too far out to score. They need it in a hurry. We're at nearly the 29-minute mark.
Space on the outer side here.
Cook. Treleaven put on a good challenge, but Troy Gray's come up from defence to take the mark under pressure. A lead by Lowe.
Well, with that camera from behind the goals once again, and was talking about shepherding, but Nicky Winmar's just done another beautiful block, and Graham had no chance. Hartford had to go to try and contest with Stewie.
It's interesting, isn't it, for the people at home? They're probably sitting there wondering why has Mark Graham let Stewie Lowe get 15 metres in front. But as you say, just a bit of strategic placing there from Nicky Winmar, and it makes it a little bit easy for the big fella.
Well, if I was a backman, I'd be very angry at Nicky Winmar at this time.
Stewie Lowe started to take some marks. He's up to 6 now. He's nearly markless in the first quarter. 35 metres out. A shocking kick. Here's Winmar. And again, Nicky Winmar.
He had that. I thought that was name written all over. It's out in the full, but he should have grabbed that.
Yeah, he got the second bite on it, Craig, but somebody touched the ball as it spills up, well, bounced off his chest there, so that effectively ended that marking attempt, and he ended up with the ball on the second bite, but too late.
Well, Harford with the free kick from the back pocket. And there's a man who's kicked 3 goals tonight. Big punch forward by the Saints. Soccer forward by Pritchard. Hawthorn keep it going forward. Braden Tallis has it. Forward of centre wing. A centering kick. Not much distance. Siren. So Hawthorn won the quarter, even kicking into the breeze.
I think and we'll obviously be able to have a look at this at half-time, but just the effective rate of the St Kilda kicking is it's way down. Lower was at 50%, Winmar was at 50%, and it's just part of the reason why they're down a moment by 4 goals. But it'll be interesting to have spend a bit of time over those stats at half-time, Derm.
Absolutely. Look, you see Stewie Lowe there. He really came into the game then, and look, he took a lot of marks, but
one that might surprise is that St Kilda have been inside 50 more than Hawthorn, and they've won out of the centre more than Hawthorn.
A lot of the time they've actually bombed it forward, and it's just been, well, easy pickings for the Hawthorn defence.
We start the second half, and Salmon wins in the middle, but St Kilda get the first kick, which is smothered. The whistle's gone. It's coming back.
There's a free kick to young Crawford. There was a free kick to him off the ball, about 25 yards, and the umpire out of the main frame paid the free kick.
The Hawks with the breeze in this third quarter, and they already lead by 21 points. Dunstall with his left knee heavily bandaged. Hasn't been a big night, but Gary Lyon, I would compare his presence here tonight with yours for Melbourne on Thursday night.
Oh, it's very kind. I know he'd be feeling his way. I know exactly how he feels at the moment, and just being out there would be a big step for Jason. Interestingly enough, St Kilda started with Winmar and Lowe in the goal square, and Harford's with Winmar.
Hawks in attack, throw in forward pocket. Everett beats Holland. But it comes back to Holland, who's wrapped up quickly.
Just on that lead that Jason Dunstall made just before the ball got pushed over the boundary line, Craig Kelly, he actually got out there a bit early, and, well, it wasn't a lead at full pace.
No, well, the judgment obviously will come a little bit later on, but he just got there a little bit early, like I said, and had to stop, and Shanahan's so big he came to the top.
Everett on his back. Gibson for Hawthorn with a bounce, and a Shepherd gets him closer to goal. That's across the face.
A free hit.
Did he get him high, Craig Kelly? It looked like it.
Did he get him high? It was probably not much in it. He chased him down, but good turn of pace there. And I'm betting, if I'm a betting man, I'm sure he'll centre it here. If not, it's going to be very hard to put it through.
Oh, Craig, you'd never give him away from here as we watch the replay come up there. Oh, I tell you what, that is pretty soft.
Yeah, it was a little bit, I thought, but
that is very soft. But you've got to run around here and just open up the angle and kick a drop punt. Call it as it goes, Craig Kelly.
And he's, I think he might be doing that, although Everett and also Harvey have blocked that a little bit. But here we go. He's run around and he's going to screw it around, and he's missed it. Just didn't do the drop punt, Dermy. Tried to do the old check side punt, as we call it in Adelaide. Yeah,
I think the best ploy there is if you come back about an extra 10 yards and actually get into a full sprint, and just run out and bend your run then as if you're actually in the middle of play. You tend to kick the ball straight on, and you really rarely miss them in that fashion.
I concur wholeheartedly with you, Dermot. Ned wouldn't know. He's never kicked a goal.
Harvey kicked in the Peckett then.
Peckett with confidence. Jones pokes the ball up to half-back.
Great shot looking up the ground here. St Kilda just running the ball and now turning it over.
What a shocking hand pass by Peckett. Clatton now approaching 50. Dunstall is one out. And Holland in the same direction as the ball. Magnificent mark.
Now, fantastic play, Craig Kelly. Jason Dunstall held the oncoming Shanahan off, so Nick Holland could catch that.
Here it is. You got it on camera here. You'll just see himself prop, bang. That is great. When you've got a guy like that, it just makes it so much easier for the young guys around to run into a bit of space. And he's running with the ball. He knows he can do that. And look at the stats. He's had 80% efficiency. Now, just tell me, Dermy, what would you class as the right efficiency rate for a league player? Is it above 50, 60%?
Look, it depends on the position you play and the nature of the game you usually play. But as centre-half forward, you want to be around a minimum of 60%. You want to hit your target more times than you
Straight through the middle.
Whereas if you're a Terry Wallace type midfielder or a Tony Liberatore who burrows in and and just slams the ball on your foot and gets it going your way, still advantage to your team, but you're not going to have a high efficiency of finding the target. You see Nick Holland, he's got the confidence to watch the ball and nothing but the ball there, because he knows Dunster will do the right thing by him. Something Jason picked up in years after I left.
And and Nick Holland's just given him a wave and said, thanks, buddy, and I'd be doing a lot more of that to him.
Absolutely.
Important first goal of the second half to the Hawks, and they lead 60-32. Salmon rucks against Everett. It comes to Woods. Wrapped up by Everett.
Well, if the umpire wasn't blindsided then, he would have seen that Tony Woods could have handballed that free, because Everett's hand didn't pin the ball. He just punched the ball but never let it go. So he just sucked the umpire in there.
Oh, Paul Salmon going great guns. Flattened into Burke's back. No whistle. Hand pass to Harvey. Beautiful one to Peckett. Now he needs to use it better than he did last time. That's better to full forward. Winmar. That's terrific play there by Thompson.
Thompson, rather. Well, he's going to play the mark here to Troy Gray. Just drifted down here.
Well, that's amazing there, Gary Lyon, because Troy Gray was the man that Jason Dunstall hipped out at the other end for Nick Holland. Whereas, see, as you call it there, Gary, sure. I don't think he's come back far enough off the man off the mark.
I know what you're saying here. I think he's going to get away with it.
He's got it.
He has got away with it. He did. He read that pretty well. Now, he drifted down with the play and made himself a dangerous player, so Crummell had to go to him, and he was good enough then to take that mark on the goal line and finish it off.
It was superb play by Thompson, though. We've been, well, we've spoken about his efforts tonight already. He's been a bit of a find for St Kilda, a new player.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems to have a bit of toe. He's wearing Aussie Jones' old number. And Troy Gray, they're 9 kicks, efficiency rate of 67, but if he can keep putting them through the middle, they'll be happy with that, I reckon.
Well, they've been kicking hat-tricks of goals from the wing and a couple of goals from defence, and they've been coming from all over this big Waverley ground to get on the score sheet here tonight. The Saints get it out of the middle. Peckett up from the last line of defence. Penetration with that kick. Bouncing near the 50, close to out of bounds. Lekas. He was held but not in possession against Thompson. Lekas the free kick.
I tell you what, Hawthorn have had a pretty good run the last 5 minutes from the umpires.
Play on, says the umpire. Thompson didn't quite get him.
Jeez, he's just danced around in there.
A bit of inexperience from Thompson. He needs to hold him up there.
Here's Troy Gray again. Played a top game in his debut for St Kilda. It's there for the Saints. Overrun by McLaren. Out of defence by Lawrence, by Graham. Another St Kilda free kick here. Another Hawthorn free kick.
Crummell, he just got caught a bit high by Zilla when he went for the mark. Actually, pretty silly play there, Gary Lyon, because St Kilda would have held that up otherwise.
Yeah, he was just a little bit over-anxious then, I think, young Zilla. He's a pretty fiery customer and just a bit too keen.
The ball got to the back of the pack for Crawford. Dunstall charges at it. Kept away from him by Shanahan.
Well,
and out by Peckett.
He actually didn't charge at that, Drew. He sort of, I thought he could have made that and just, I mean, he's been worn like a glove with Shanahan, and I thought he could have gone a little bit harder then, but might have been just waiting to prop up and see if it bounced into his hands, give the quick handball.
Incredible that he's playing at all after a knee reconstruction, after he was injured in Hawthorn's final last year. Everett got a glove to that, straight back out of bounds. No, it's kept in. Burke working in no space at all.
You can see that's the safety for the most sides in their defence will tend to just pat the ball back towards the boundary line to live to fight another day, as they say.
You'll see Nick Holland, he'll try and whack it over the back here, and someone like Crawford or someone will run to the centre of the ground here.
Hassel's about to do it. No.
Wood's got a touch to it. Harvey, he was caught once before like this. Platten, oh, he put it down, Johnny Platten.
I mean, he was almost caught then, Harves, but he's got the amazing ability to jumps around and changes direction, and it's very hard to tackle, and he always tends to get the handball free.
One thing he does do, he holds the ball in 2 hands, and whichever side you tackle Harvey from, if you tackle him from the right-hand side, he frees that right hand off the ball and puts the ball under the left arm, so he's always beautifully balanced to hold the ball.
Very close to the boundary line. A centering kick by Gibson. Peckett, Harvey, Coghlan, Daniels. St Kilda fans want 50 metres. Nothing doing.
See Scott look at the umpire then and say, no, I didn't. Pleading with him.
Harvey for the second time. Coghlan for the second. Harvey for the third. Here's Troy Gray again. Outer wing to half forward. And Shanahan.
That's really quite poor play from here. I mean, they were in the middle of the ground and they've gone from one pocket to the wing. In this ground, you've got to, once you get to the centre of the ground, try and bring it back towards your goal. Head for the goal umpire at the other end.
And some of the reasons why some of those guys on ball for St Kilda do get a lot of numbers as well.
And Shanahan was at half forward all the way from full back, and Dunstall had gone all the way with him.
Yeah, he's just trying to run Jason around a bit when St Kilda have the ball, drag Jason out from goal where he is dangerous. Trying to make him blow a bit in the wind tank as well.
And the important thing there, Derm, I've always found, is as soon as the ball's in dispute or there's a ball up, is to sprint just as hard back. Because I know the big lazy fullbacks don't like to run both ways.
You're kidding. We love it.
Oh, Craig.
Salmon. Zilla is wearing Platten very close. Well, Platten gets some sort of a hand pass to Pritchard. Now to Scott. Open spaces for Scott. Brad Scott making his debut.
Poor kick from Scott there, but he showed a really good turn of pace there to get away from his opponent Burke, Gary Lyon.
Yeah, look, it was a poor choice because he was on the burst and he kicked to a 50-50 and only 20-metre kick. It's much better there to go 50 metres long and try and get some distance.
Right over the top was Coghlan. Platten couldn't win possession. Ozzie Jones does. Kick by Jones towards the 50. McLaren runs onto it. Well chopped off by Graham, who's had an outstanding night.
Yeah, he's read the ball very well. He's basically let Stewie Lowe take him to the ball, which can be a bit dangerous with Stewie Lowe, because if the ball drops short in a kick, it's very difficult to get a punch around Stewie's frame. But other than that, he's done very well. Just played a yard off him and punched the ball clear.
Backhander by Salmon. Back out of play.
Gary Lyon, we see Barry Hall back on the ground for St Kilda, picked up by Stevie Lawrence, about 30 or about 50 yards straight back from that boundary line throw-in.
Indeed, Dermot. Who would you be backing?
Ian Dicker will be talking to me at three-quarter time.
And this will be a ball up. They've kicked one goal each in the second quarter.
No moves on the interchange bench and no injuries, so no, there's really nothing to report down here.
Watch the clock, top left-hand corner. Third quarter, clock counting up. 11.5 minutes gone, third term. St Kilda still in it, although they trail. McLaren, Winmar and Harford doing a lot of jostling well before the ball arrived. And Zilla underneath the pack.
Yeah, look, just watched Nicky Winmar pretty closely then. He has lost a bit of confidence, I think. He just didn't know whether to go at that one or wait back a bit. And he's only had 5 kicks for the night and a very low efficiency rate.
And his opponent, Daniel Harford, has kicked 3 magnificent goals. 35 metres out. Saints in attack. McLaren couldn't get boot to ball. Woods only for about 5 metres. Thompson, a real terrier. Well done, son. Zilla to Nathan Burke. Now Winmar's a chance. But Harford beats him again and helps out Graham. Oh, dangerous.
He's played down the ground. Big Pete Everett's just bowled Mark Graham over. A little bit soft, I would have thought. I guess in Nicky Winmar's defence, he's coming back from a knee injury as well, so he could be a little bit nervous.
Here's Steve Lawrence working with Hall.
Did very well then, Barry Hall, just to hold the ball in, because Stevie Lawrence had him on the wrong side of the fall of the ball, and yeah, worked pretty hard.
Here's Johnny Platten going off the field.
Well, Zilla's actually pushed him off the ball the last 2 or 3 contests, so you see Zilla's a pretty hard little nut, and you're probably just going to give Johnny a bit of a breather and run him back on at the start of the 4th quarter.
Great play by Jones. He was out, the ball was in. Crummell run down by Lowe. It spills to Harvey. He sees daylight. Robert Harvey kicked the goal. Beautiful.
Superb effort, Gary Lyon. He just waited waited for the option, like the horse sitting in the box seat, waited for the opening and then took it.
Exactly right, Derm. And you just, look, he's magnificent on his feet. He's so light on his feet. The change of direction here, he's got a great sidestep, and if he was a rugby league player, don't they say the step is the most important thing? He would have been a sensation in that game, but he's a sensation in this game and a much-needed goal. Does cop a bit of criticism for not kicking enough goals, Robbie Harvey, so they'd have to be happy with that, St Kilda.
He probably should find the target a little bit more than normal. You see 62% of his kicks are actually finding the mark, and the one balanced so beautifully, and well, his kicking action is perfect. You'd almost expect him to get it 100% all the time.
The margin back to 16 points. Remember, the Hawks kicked the first 5 goals of the game, so the Saints certainly not out of it. Harvey, the hand pass to Daniels. Now Burke. Burke with distance from a standing start. Winmar this time.
Well, look, it is an amazing game footy. The momentum, and it's a very much an intangible thing, but the momentum has just swung St Kilda's way here. You can just sense it all over the ground. And now a guy who's been down all night, he's been picked up for the ride and having a shot at goal.
Once you see the ball coming in there about 1 foot pace away from the fall of the ball, as Winmar lines up a goal, and he rarely misses those types of kicks. That's bread and butter for Nicky Winmar. But you saw Daniel Harper, he's actually had his back to Nicky Winmar, 1 pace away from the jump at the ball to take it at its highest point, which is not the way you want to be. You want to be face onto your opponent so you can basically claw him, smother him, do anything to punch the ball free. But when you if you watch Harford here, when the ball comes down, he's got his back pointing towards him. See there, right there, which is where you don't want to be. You want to be face on with him. As Craig Kelly would tell you, he's the master at clawing and nagging and scragging.
What a bad coaching move by Stan Elzo. I mean, the Hawthorn have lost a bit of drive since Harford's got away from the centre of the ground.
Yep, exactly right.
The Saints have kicked 3 goals to 1 in this quarter, and they're working into the breeze. Everett palms to Harvey, and the Saints go forward again. The kick by Zilla. Punch to the front of the pack. Oh, solid body work by Winmar. It spills to Harford, Winmar's opponent. And a well-judged kick.
Gary, it's interesting you said that about a player that is playing in form and good touch. Obviously, a lot of times gets dragged down by the opposition side into a negative role, or a position where he can't be as damaging. And often I wonder why they don't just push him back up the ground and get him creating this play again.
Yeah, absolutely. They must be very, very worried about Nicky Winmar. That's all I could say.
Salmon wins, but Harvey roves the crumbs. Burke. Well, here's a contest. Oh! Terrific mark, and that could be 50.
You wonder why they took him off.
No, he's not playing at 50.
Well, Lawrence worked him to the ground after he took the mark.
He's a bit sore, Drew. He is a bit sore. I'm not quite sure. It might be the knee area, or...
That is 50 for sure.
Might be the family jewels, actually.
It wasn't a... I think you're right, Gary.
We shouldn't laugh, boys, because we've all been in this situation.
Robert Harvey takes the kick. Low. Oh! Stewie low.
Well, you spoke of momentum, Gary Lyon. It is in full swing at the moment.
Absolutely. And look, and without wanting to state the obvious, how important are Harvey, Burke, Winmar and Lowe?
Look at Salmon there. He really got right in the middle of the back. Bit sore, I think.
There's a big ask for Stewie here. He's obviously his kicking's been down, as you can see there, but the big 4 have just started to take over this game.
Here's the view from behind as we watch Stuart Lowe. Perfect.
We are back in town.
Once again, Gary Lyon, the confidence situation there, a big grab, and he's able to thread it through, whereas before, when he was labouring his possessions, he was getting nowhere near.
Dave, I've got a report on...
Yes, you're right, obviously, look, that's what the great thing about football is. It's a team game, and you can feed off each other's inspiration. Harvey's given them a burst out of the middle. All of a sudden, Winmar bobs up, and then now Stewie Lowe's kicking straight. So
Andrew, you've got a report down the boundary line?
Yeah, Barry Hall, it wasn't a family jewels, Gary Lyon. It was a slight knock on the hip groin region. He didn't want to come off, but they talked him into it. I don't think he'll be off for very long.
Hutchton has come on to replace him. Woods for Hawthorn. What a game we have on our hands here. Just 4 points the margin. Hawthorn clinging to a narrow lead. Peckett's hand pass. Taylor overruns. Woods. No room to move in there. Burke. Scott for Hawthorn. Just outside 50. Young, a good contest. Crawford. Dunstall caught a step behind. Shanahan out of the air. Peckett for St Kilda. In plenty of space is Everett. If they get the next score, it could be St Kilda in front, but a poor kick by Everett. Salmon, great tackle by Burke. Got him round the hips. Perfect.
That's how you pin them. You just go low at them and take away their momentum.
Well, the kick was actually set up for Stewart low there. Stewie got there a little bit early and was sitting under the ball. Winmar just great judgment and anticipation. As you can see, Harford left a couple of metres behind and great hands. And he's all of a sudden looking very dangerous down here.
And he can put the Saints in front.
He has done just that.
Gary Lyon, young Daniel Harford's done very well, even though Winmar's kicked his second. But he's not you know, you wouldn't be putting him deep in defence no matter who he's playing against, because as you saw there, Winmar flew and Harford stayed down. That's his natural game, to stay down. But Winmar's always going to pressure you into the overhead contest.
Yeah, look, you're spot on there, Dermond. And the position that Harford's playing now would be absolutely foreign to him. Probably never even played there in his junior days. And I reckon he'd be feeling very uncomfortable at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if the move was made very shortly.
Holland's gone into the ruck, Dermy, and Salmon down in full forward pocket.
Well, they need Dutchy Holland to get a snip of the ball because he hasn't been too prominent in this quarter.
Hasn't come down here.
Woods dashes out of the middle for the Hawks. Plenty of penetration. Dunstall.
Oh.
Well, he would have taken it maybe in the good old days. Oh, it's a push.
I mean, it was a beautiful kick, and Jason, I reckon, was lucky there. We'll see the replay, but once again, Ford's getting looked after. Oh, perhaps a little bit there. It was a beautiful kick by Tony Woods running the centre. It doesn't make a difference when you get your midfield on the ball and the ball gets moving your way. It's amazing how you get a bit of a run on.
Saints leading by 2 points. Can Dunstall wrest the lead back for the Hawks?
That's Dunstall's fifth, his fifth disposal, and really he's only operating at about 40% efficiency at the moment. He's only found the mark 2 out of 5 possessions. So not the best for Jason. He'd be hoping to make it 5 out of 5, being a full forward.
Peckett's kick is good, and in the back pocket is Cripps.
Midfield puts on, it's dangerous.
Gray, he's intercepted. Trelevin played it well. Just gets the hand pass away. No, he didn't. Free kick against him.
Yeah, had to be thrown through. He just didn't get rid of it.
St Kilda's tackling's great. The tackle by Burke set up the last goal. Robert Harvey, the magician at work. It was going to be a Saints free kick. Now advantage. Gives up the hand pass. Cripps. Winmar again. Have you ever seen such a turnaround in all your life?
Look, I'm just looking at the options for Hawthorn. I'm wondering whether or not Woods can go back and play on Winmar and maybe Harford onto Harvey. But as I said earlier, he's looking very dangerous, lining up for his 3rd goal, and you've got a feel for young Harford.
Harford, 3 goals in the first half.
Young Young's on here. He's on his own. He just unmanned there for a good 30 seconds. I'm not quite sure what the Hawthorn boys were doing. He has made it very difficult. He's out on the boundary, very hard angle, and he's operating at 50% at the minute, young Matty Young. So let's hope we can put this
Gary would. There's Matthew Young's 50% effective in this game. 2 kicks for a total of 4 possessions. Would Crummell be an option there?
Yeah, quite possibly. I guess you've got to take a bit of juggling then, but we'll just have a look at this.
30 metres out Young. Across the face of goal and through 4 behind.
You'd almost back Young in on a running shot from there, but a stationary set shot. He's got too much time to think about it, and hence he pulls it away to the left.
St Kilda gone one-on-one here. Hawthorn gone into the huddle, and always you're a good chance of getting the ball when the huddle's on.
Leckis breaks but can't mark. Tallis. Over centre wing. Excellent mark by Aaron Lord. Holland.
He read that well, Dutchy Holland, Craig Kelly. He just ran back with the flight. When it went wide, he ran up the guts.
He's going wider again, which may not give... this is going to be a very difficult shot now. There's not a lot of space. But Pritchard didn't keep his feet well there and just kept on running. And once you fall to ground, you're no use to anyone, as I got told many a time.
Yeah, there's only 17 men on your side when you fall to the ground.
Boys, the move's been made. Woods on the Winmar, Harford on the Harvey.
You are a coach.
Oh,
well
picked.
Super coach.
Well, here's Shannon Gibson from near the boundary line. The breeze will help it. He's kicking from just outside 40 metres.
Front.
It's touched out, so we'll have a throw in.
Stevie Lawrence, well, he could have just about marked that one. He spent too much time worrying about hipping his opponent out.
In fact, Dermot might be a coach because Crummel's coming down on the Winmar.
No, that was me who called that one.
Was you, Ned? Sorry.
Well, I disagree with the move of putting Crates down there.
Kicks a goal.
The famous number 23 Drew Morford.
Now, it'd be interesting to see if that was the little set play, because a lot of the sides will just drop it to their feet with the big ruckman, or if Everett was trying to get to the boundary. Yeah, he's trying to go to the boundary and well read.
So the Hawks back in front after St Kilda hit the front and led by 2 points. The Hawks now by 4. Approaching time on, 24 and a quarter minutes gone in the third quarter. And what a game we have to open the season here at Waverley.
That's leaving Tony Woods, the loose man in defence now that Crummel's gone back into the full-back position on Winmar.
Yep, that's right, Dermot. And Lawrence on to Barry Hall, who's back on the ground.
Holland gets the ball back to Treleaven, but Burke for St Kilda. McLaren a touch, but a fumble. Pritchard on the 50. Lord for goal. Across the face. Kept in by Salmon. He tried to. Actually, he tipped it in for his
opponent.
opponent.
It was out of bounds from this angle. The umpire was nowhere near it.
Well, Coughlin rips it out of defence.
It's actually an interesting matchup, that. Salmon on Coughlin. If they get next to each other and we can get a camera shot, you'll see there's a big height difference.
Drew, I think Lord more likely to have his day tomorrow.
Easter Sunday. Well, Coughlin's listed at 193 centimetres, which is approximately 6'4". So he's a decent-sized fella. Salmon's going to out-height anybody by a huge amount.
Holland, Treleaven, smothered by Burke. He works hard, Nathan Burke.
He's one of those blokes I look at all the time and say, no, he's not terribly special, but you read the stats at the end of the day and he's had 30 to 35 possessions week in, week out, Nathan Burke.
Very, very fit young man. Looks after himself very well.
I even remember one day trying to give him a hard time and rip his headgear off, and I got rope burn on the fingers trying to pull that thing off his head. He hurts you even when you're trying to get him.
Here's Young, as though he threw it to Neil. Over centre wing, McLaren. Lekis loses it in the tackle. Pritchard. Holland goes back. Pritchard again in. Heaps of bother.
Pulls back on, obviously, and his crown jewels, or hip, as Andy Marr said it was.
I wasn't that far off, I know.
He's a bit out of sorts, Darren Pritchard. He fumbled a little bit there and didn't think that quickly, so let's hope he can pull his game together.
On all fours is Troy Gray. The ball out of play for a boundary throw-in. Well, haven't we had some upsets in the first round? Gary, you would have to concede that Melbourne beating North was an upset.
Minor upset, Drew, yes.
Okay.
I backed you.
And the Dockers winning only their third ever game in Melbourne today against the Western Bulldogs. We don't know which way this is going to go.
Now, speaking of mismatches, we've got Barry Hall up against Tony Woods here, so quite a sizable height advantage there to the St Kilda centre-half forward.
Just play off him a little bit and punch it away and let Hall do all the mistakes.
Holland wins in ruck. Burke first there. Keeps the ball in for the Saints, but he kept it in for Tallis. Good interception by Daniels. Oh, courage needed there. It was knocked forward by Holland, but only as far as Thompson. Good hand pass to Troy Gray. The kick by Gray, looking for Everett. Punch away by Lawrence. Here's Jones. Neal. He frees up Cripps. Oh, poor hand pass by Jason Cripps. Crummel out of defence.
Oh,
Good running. He ducked the high tackle. That was Crawford, brilliant. To Lord. Open spaces down at half forward for Hawthorn. Dunstall a mile out from goal. Kept in by Robbie Neal. Cripps, better hand pass this time. Shanahan, they worked it pretty well. They've had a good quarter, the Saints. Here's Matthew Young. 28 and a quarter minutes gone. And Hawthorn lead by 4 points.
I was going to say I had to go to Shanahan because Jason is just not chasing at the moment. I think he might be a little bit sore.
Jason not chasing.
See how Shanahan actually pushed him off the ball in that lead about 30 seconds ago, Craig.
He did, and normally you just can't do that with Jason. He stopped, so they're going everywhere to get the ball down there. And this
is trying to find a way home here. They've got no numbers, and it may pay the price.
Gibson, good pass, and Crawford takes the mark 50 metres out. Could have gone long, but went for the pass, and Young chops it off.
That actually isn't a bad pass. He just hasn't calculated for the man coming in from the side, but it was actually put to Salmon's advantage. Just the vision upset him there, where he didn't calculate on the man encroaching from the right-hand side.
Kick by Gray, looking for Lowe. Daniels to Thompson. He's had a good debut. Lost it this time. Lawrence to Harford. He's up near the centre now, Daniel Harford. Beautiful pass to Crawford. Crawford being run down, but beats the tackler. Shot for goal. Just offline.
An ugly looking kick. It floated around the bit, and the siren's gone. But Jason just didn't lead as strong as he would. I think he's a bit puffed at the moment.
He seemed to hold on to that just a fraction long, Crawford. I know you always wait to get on your right step so you kick it fluently, but it just gave the opposition enough time to lay a hand on him and just upset his kicking stride,
I
Craig.
think he was actually looking for Jason for a second, then obviously Shanahan was right on him and decided to go for goals.
Football Feedback. It's a serious review show about the week in footy, where we put every game under the microscope. We look at the issues of the week and cross live to the AFL Tribunal. Not that I'd know anything about the Tribunal. So if you love your footy, join Tim Lane, Rowan Connolly, Gary Lyon and myself for Football Feedback. 7:30 tonight on Sports AFL. Really, it's an excuse for a few footy-mad mates to get together and have a chat. Why not?
Making in the NBA, you need offense.
Gary Payton lead pass, Kemp goal!
You've got to play defense.
Kemp inside, blocked by Elijah.
And you need teamwork.
Great penetration by Smith, dropping it off.
But most of all, you need vision.
Look at this kid! Are you serious? Are you for real?
Not that vision, Optus vision.
The big guns from LA could run into an ambush in Seattle against Kemp and Payton. Wednesday, 11 a.m. live on ESPN.
He's got the pace. Plenty of space. What about the flick?
Season 97's underway with the best club rugby in the world, the Hawthorn Cup.
I must score.
16 teams battling it out in a supercharged pre-season knockout championship. The Hawthorn Cup, live and exclusive only on Sports Australia.
Paul Salmon had a little breather there in the third quarter, so let's hope a big quarter for him as well. It should be a great finish.
Craig Kelly, there's a bit of a huddle in the St Kilda forward line.
Robin's on Hall at the moment.
Salmon wins it out of the middle, but Burke grabs it for the Saints. St Kilda coming home with the breeze and trailing by just 5 points. Hassel, former Collingwood. Robin getting his first run. Very wide. Peckett working up the ground, got a bad bounce. Gibson's hand pass was behind Tallis.
Oh, Gary Lyon, one thing you do if you're running full tilt away from goal, somebody runs to you, don't drill them with the handball there, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's just a bit of experience, and he was running boundary side too, I guess. Inside's always a preferable place to run, I suppose.
And Kenny Judge was pretty upset with that. Everett against Salmon. Magnificent performance by Paul Salmon, because he's gone in with a groin strain and has played most of the game here tonight. Burke spun around a couple of times in a tackle. No whistle on the play. Gibson. Crawford, a good mark. And the hand pass to Harford. Straight to Dunstall. No mark. Play on.
Gary Lyon, Jason Dunstall normally their bread and butter, and he doesn't let them go.
Yeah, look, again, it's just one of those things where he's only played a half a footy to date up against a very good, strong, close-checking opponent, and that'll come in the next few weeks. He'll be back to the old Dunstall Bowl.
What do you do from now on if you half it in that situation again? Do you go at goals and let Dunstall basically give a dummy lead then, or do you still have faith in him?
Oh, I think they've got to start attacking the goal square just a little bit more. Obviously, you know, he isn't having a fantastic night by his lofty standards, and you know, if the opportunity presents itself, particularly late in the game, to attack the square, then I think maybe they've got to start looking at that a bit.
And one milestone might be coming up, a game where Dunstall is goalless. Haven't been too many have held him goalless. Harford back to Tallis. Here's Dunstall. Shanahan works him to the boundary line. Well played, Jamie Shanahan.
Yeah. Once again, a bit eager, Gary.
Yeah, you can just I can almost see his facial expressions from here. He's just getting a little bit frustrated about it all, but he's still there. He's dragging a good player away and is giving the opportunity for other Hawthorn forwards.
From the throw-in, Holland against Everett. Everett went up like Mount Everest. Little kick by Tallis, chopped off by Coghlan. Cripps. Jones.
Super kick.
Great catch too.
He's speedy, Aussie Jones, isn't he?
Very hard to do at full pace if you hang on to a mark like that.
Coghlan behind centre half back. That could have been dangerous. Look at Aussie Jones running to give him something. Oh, it's great play. You're a bit slow though, Jamie Shanahan.
Great chase.
Well done, Johnny Hassler. I think he might have hurt himself in that tackle.
Got Dunstall one out here against Aussie Jones.
Kick by Robran. They doubled up on Dunstall. Jones balks the hand pass and gives it up. Dunstall. Gibson. Here's a chance for the Hawks. And the mark dragged down by Braden Tallis.
Just a real untidy piece of play there. They didn't work the numbers very well at all. Neil and Jones had 2-on-1 against Jason. He was good enough to get the footy, and it eventuated in a shot at goal here for Braden Tallis.
Great chase by Jack Hassel.
Yeah, brought about by that chase, absolutely.
Kick by Tallis from 50 metres. Plenty of distance into the breeze, but not quite enough. Off the hands, and that's the first score of this final quarter, and we've been playing nearly 4 minutes.
Isn't that great, Gary, when your ruckman can drop down and punch it through the goal line? It's one of the great things that good ruckman can do.
Yeah, the best place to be.
Oh. Young to Zilla. It came unstuck. Everett missed with his attempted soccer kick. Cripps did well. Long kick by Cripps, half back to half forward, low. The hand pass a bit too slick. Paul good enough to double back. He's caught red hot by Robran.
Gee, I don't know about you, Durham. Did you have a chance to get rid of that?
I think the umpires take it into account. If you're slung to the ground, they give you a bit of a leniency attitude. But when you actually can stand up through the tackle and get spun, you'll find not many times they let you off the, let you off the charge.
I think you find Hall's probably a little bit sore at the moment. He's not running as smoothly as he did in the first half.
Yeah, I was a little bit hard on him before. I think he's got a fair bit of talent, the young fella. Just needs to learn a bit more about the game.
Salmon works to the back. Burke with great pace.
Oh, well done, Berkey.
And he's still in the contest. Oh. Man, Burke was the one who got it out to Thompson.
Tonight's attendance, 35,732 people coming in to see the round one clash between St Kilda and Hawthorn here on Sports AFL.
Nathan Burke, 22 possessions, at only 50%, but he always gets it in plenty of traffic. Harvey, out of bounds on the full.
Oh, good pressure. Young Scotty there, he doesn't have the same sort of ability as his brother at the Brisbane Bears, but one thing he does give this Hawthorn side, well, he has been giving them in the reserves even, because it's his first game tonight, is he will have an absolute red-hot go.
Yeah, something he does share in common with his brother Dermot. A great story, was he? He was a SUP list player who...
Well, he was on the list 2 years ago. Last year he went back to the SUP list, and when that happens, Gary, you feel like you're going backwards, and the next one is you go to the, to the VFA, I suppose, but he's made it back up, so well done.
But as a SUP player, he won the reserves best and fairest, and then was drafted number 85 pick.
Great story.
Cripps running away from Platten. Good penetration. Low, Spoiled by Lawrence.
That is a great punch. It's cleared. It's better than a kick.
Hassel, a good pickup. And now the Hawks away. Robin's given them fresh legs in the last quarter. The kick wide. Crawford. Lord had time. Well, Dunstall had no chance in that pack. Lord followed up. Oh, he's torn high.
You see Matthew Young going off tap there about ducking, but you see Aaron Lord here. He's down when he gathers it. He gets up. He actually hasn't ducked. He's still on the way up theoretically, so therefore the high tackle must still apply.
It was a bit clumsy too, wasn't it, there from Big Coughlin?
Yeah, there's a chance to really go in low and just take him off his feet if you hit him around the hips in that situation and put him out of the contest.
His 20th possession at only 42%, so statistics would say he won't get this, and they do not lie on this occasion, although the ball is still alive.
Kept alive by Platten.
I'll tell you one thing, Dermot, just watching from this end, it's a great view of the ground, and we've had some fantastic camera shots, but it's pretty hard to pick up the work rate of Justin Crawford. Now, we know that Shane's an absolute fitness fanatic. It looks like his brother shares that trait as well.
Chance here for the Hawks. There's Crawford getting a kick. Right on the edge of the goal square. Burke for St Kilda. What a great contest here between Scott and Harvey. Off the ground goes Troy Gray. He's made a top debut for the Saints. McLaren.
Just the one interesting statistic is that, just speaking on Justin Crawford, he's had 18 possessions, I think, but only at 39%, so perhaps he doesn't share that in common with his brother Shane.
You see young Scott there against Harvey. He actually beat him for possession, but gave it up just through a little bit of lack of footy now, or skill. He just made the handball a bit hard, so that's something to work on for the kid.
Kick by Tallis, didn't quite carry to Crawford, and over the line.
He's covering a bit of ground for a forward flanker, Crawford.
Yeah, look, he's in perpetual motion. He gives himself a great chance. He doesn't stand still for too long.
And Young, his marksman, spent about 4 seasons in the reserves at Hawthorn. Didn't get many opportunities. Here's Johnny Hassel just forward of the centre circle. Nick Holland on a lead.
That's probably one of the best kicks I've ever seen Johnny Hassel execute there. Hit him lace out.
Dunstall leading, but Holland goes over his head. Gibson shepherds for a goal.
Well, Gary Lyon, we talked a second ago about whether the Hawthorn boys would still aim at Jason Dunstall or attack the goal square. You suggested they should attack the goal square. Probably went through at about 5 foot off the ground, and the boys were able to shepherd it through. Paid dividends. Yeah,
look, you asked to pose the question beautifully, Dermot, and what happened there was Dunstall did push off and lead. A bit of the St Kilda focus was on Dunstall. It left the goal square open. And it was a beautiful kick, and as you say, it went through at a touchable height, but there was just no one home.
A little bit of play there from Nick Holland and his opponent Coughlin. He put the water bottle straight into the face, trying to upset the boy.
Well, Johnny Platten benched again, and Trelevin comes on for the Hawks. The important first goal of the last quarter went to Hawthorn. Holland again. Round the neck goes Coughlin. Holland pops one up for Hassel. Clever round the corner. Dunstall this time. The mark paid.
That's the way you really can hurt yourself, Gary Lyon, when you hit the ground hard and you take somebody else's weight as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you can see on your monitor here that he does land on that knee pretty heavily there, so...
good test.
A very good test, and if he can go back here and drill this one home, well, won't they rise as one, the Hawthorn supporters?
See, when Jason puts his head down to line it up, you really see he is going bald.
Hawks by 12 points. Punched by Everett out of bounds.
Oh, you're onside as well, Kelly.
You had mane of hair. You sit up there like Lord Muck looking like a lion, and us poor blokes go down. We can't now when we go bald.
I always knew which side you were going to take, Craig Kelly.
He's a good bloke, Jace.
Yes, he is, but he's losing his hair and he can't help it.
I'll wear a hat.
Saints don't want to concede another goal here. 3-goal deficit will be pretty hard. Here's Peckett. Winmar now back in defence. Up to centre wing, low, a long way down.
You see Treleaven there really went in for the contest inside Hawthorn's 50 metres attacking zone, and he didn't run in a straight line with it. He would have been better off picking the ball up, riding the bump, and just having possession and then in control of whether he dishes out a handball, it might be a mongrel, but he might have pushed it to the boundary and the ball would still be in their attacking zone.
I wonder who's about to get the spray from Stan Alves.
Didn't look happy.
Crummel to Chick. Oh, one-hander by Young.
Thanks, 61 to 44.
That's all. McLaren, magnificent mark.
He's got a bit of talent, young McLaren. He just doesn't get the ball enough, though. He doesn't get high enough possessions.
That's good disposal. And Coghlan doubling up from half-back. He's now nearly at half-forward for the Saints. Low leads. And when he's in that position, he usually takes the mark. Gray's hand pass is blocked. Leckis does well.
They've found him in Hawthorn now. They're lifting their notch and they've got an absolute open break here. Well, Dunstall might hold it up a bit.
Dunstall was about 80 metres from goal, and Gibson was the only man inside the 50.
Yeah, the Hawthorn boys chased their men down, and the turnover was very costly.
Change of play, Harford.
Oh, courageous. That was great stuff by Young.
Great work by Young.
It's interesting the ball as the ball goes out of play, guys, but St Kilda have had 64 marks and Hawthorn have had now 46, and you would have thought that obviously again the disposal that has been the crucial thing with St Kilda turnover.
And Cook on for St Kilda, Everett off. They're obviously looking for a ruckman who can cover a bit more ground than Everett.
So it's Salmon lasting the distance and Everett going to the bench.
Harvey at full forward too.
Cook got a hand to it. Young gains about 30 metres.
He's just obviously changed with Winmar there, Ned. Now, just interestingly
well,
enough.
Actually, Triniti's changed with Winmar, and Harvey's just come down, and geez, you wouldn't want to leave him down here too long. He looks a bit proppy, actually.
Might be just saving himself. That's a tackle count, 35 to Hawthorn, 20 to St Kilda, so almost doubled them in that score.
Salmon has been superb all night. Can he find a rover? Well, Holland goes off the ground. It's Crummel.
That's going over.
Punch to the boundary line.
You read the ball there, Gary Lyon, and when he kicks to the centre there, it was always going to go to the boundary line side or fall over the back. It was just never going to go inboard, so you just got to have the players at the fall of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and look, they've been disciplined all night, the St Kilda backs. They have punched well, so yeah, they've got to get to the fall. They've got to get front and centre and crumb that ball.
Game 1 of the season, and both coaches nearly having a heart attack here. Oh, fumble by Neal. A centering kick, not quite in front of goals. The punch was good. Came down to Zilla. Gray. Well done, Robran, to work his way in between his opponent and the ball. Gray for a second effort. It's going St Kilda's way. A bit scrappily, but they're getting a territorial advantage, which they haven't had for a while.
Now, Drew, I thought I invented new words, but that was a bit scrappily.
Scrappily?
Scrappily? We'll write that one down and see if we can get it into the book.
I'll stick with it.
I know what you meant, though. Oh, good tackling. It's Craig Kelly, it's just a real show of the intensity there. When one person gets it and they're held up for 1 second, the 2 or 3 players end up on top of them.
Well, and look at Berkey. I mean, he just didn't tackle him. He absolutely smashed him, and it's fantastic. But St Kilda Trinity is full forward. They're struggling a bit with him there.
The Hawks by 12 points, 15 minutes into the last quarter. Desperate tackling. That was Harvey.
What Jeremy, I mean, if the St Kilda to go anywhere this year, obviously, I mean, Stewie's come out to centre half forward. They just they need to find someone else to take the pressure off.
Well, Barry Hall was the man they were hoping was going to fill that centre half forward post. Now he can take a grab, but he's probably not creative enough in the mind to play centre half forward. He's got the attributes. If you have to drag Stewie away, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Triniti's on the forward line. Has he got the pace? He's got good hands. Back he goes to Jones. He has got pace. But he had nobody to give it to.
See, Johnny Hassel just ran him down then. That's Johnny Hassel's main attribute as a footballer is just the skill he has as an athlete.
And run people down. He just always used to run guys down from behind, and very, very quick. And the quickest 1,500-metre runner that Collingwood had over a number of years.
And beat you.
Oh, of course.
Pritchard's hand pass was that given by the team in front. He was going for the boundary line, no risk.
He's been around long enough, Darren Pritchard.
Well trapped. Winmar gets it going St Kilda's way. McLaren, Winmar again. Daniels just forward of the wing. Back he goes to Young. The kick by Young. Crowded forward line. Nita marks St Kilda. It comes to the back. They run at it. Try Nita.
And also, I mean, it's Paul Salmon's, he's 2 or 3 foot taller than anyone down here and still couldn't mark it.
Just try Needies. He's from the Shepparton area, former soccer champion, so you would have expected him to do a little bit better there.
They're man on man here.
That's what's the matter was. He was put off by the shape of the ball, Gary.
Exactly
Great
right
kick.
there.
He looked up and couldn't see a net.
He was going to head it for a minute.
Beautiful kick by Graham then.
Now Crummell, the centre wing. Holland, Coghlan a good punch.
He's done very well, Brendan Crummell, because he went along to the Eagles and they discarded him. He went to the Dockers, they discarded him, back to East Fremantle, and Ken Judge obviously saw him as a junior at East Fremantle and had a bit of faith in him. He's been pretty good over the latter half of last year and seems to be doing well tonight.
Cook missed with the punch. He comes to the back to Winmar. His kick inside 50, low. Oh, snatched out of the air by Paul Salmon.
Salmon floating back free and had his name written all over that.
Graham. Kick by Graham. Not sensational. It comes through to Chick. Another East Fremantle player picked up by Kenny Judge. Good hands, Harford. Clever kick. Crawford could nearly seal it. Oh, smothered by Shanahan. Another chance for Crawford. Across the face. And Jamie Shanahan still in the job.
Great work, Shanahan. Second and third efforts were just fantastic in that instance. He's a big fella. He doesn't look like he moves that well, but gee, Jason hasn't beaten him on the lead too often, and his second effort was just fantastic. But just a bit earlier on there, Mark Graham almost paid the ultimate price for not being able to kick on his right foot, which is just it's a disgrace, really, at this level.
Well, that's a bit hard, Gary.
It's not harsh, folks. Just because Ned couldn't do it.
11 points the margin. Hawks in front. Crawford.
He's been a handful, you know. I don't want to harp on the same thing, but he just keeps on moving. A bit like you do. He used to run through those packs on the forward line. It makes it very hard to stop. Justin Pickett to kick out. Oh, no, sorry, Matthew Young, rather.
Yeah, once the ball's in motion, that's when you've got to be running, because it's very hard for an opponent to keep an eye on the ball and his opponent when the ball's moving.
Absolutely.
An important mark for Robbie Neal to take then. That was courage. Young enjoying playing senior football against the club which hardly gave him any. Neal, the centre wing. Low spoiled again. It comes to Harvey, who's bowled down when he didn't have it and will take a free kick. Advantage to the Saints. Daniels.
It's gone out of bounds, Drew. Oh, the ground jump point has gone out of bounds. They will bring it back.
Well, and it's got to come back to a free kick to Harvey then.
I think so, because there's no advantage whatsoever in the ball going out of bounds. Just 5 yards from where the free kick was.
No, they're going to give it. I tell you, they're going to give it to him. I was right. You blokes just sit in the little boxes and be quiet.
Surely it should go back to Harvey. I mean, if Jack Daniels has run out of bounds with it, he's the next possession getter after the Harvey free. There was no advantage at all.
It's not a boundary throw in.
Well, that's poor umpiring.
Gee. Well, the St Kilda fans hooting that decision. A throw in centre wing. Crummell, number 14. Harford, number 5. Trying to outsprint Robert Harvey. Oh, he took it too far. He was caught. Gibson goes to ground.
Gary Lyon, that out-of-bounds situation there, that's contrary to what the league tried to educate us footballers 2 years ago.
Absolutely, Doom. They paid the advantage, and then if in a split second they realise it's not an advantage, they are able to call it back. And as I said, going out of bounds 5 yards from where the free kick's paid is hardly an advantage to St Kilda.
Nothing in this game. Well, 2 goals in it. 20.5 minutes gone, last quarter.
Well, guys, I can tell you this from behind the goals, which is one of the great things we've got here tonight, is the fact that St Kilda are going very, very wide, and if they're going to win this game, they've got to bring it back through the middle.
Stewie Lowe had a good purple patch of marking in the second quarter, but he hasn't been able to take too many in this quarter when they need him on the forward line. Peckett has it socket out of his hands by Chick. Coghlan works to the front of Holland, but Holland comes back well. A hand pass, Chick to Scott. High ball to the 50. Oh, the Saints worked it out again beautifully. Troy Gray. Winmar giving plenty of run. He was carved up early.
He's got to hold it up while St Kilda players make position for him. He's had to go backwards.
Yeah, good presence of mind there, because there was absolutely nothing on down the ground there. So they just got to chip it around a bit. Bit dangerous there, but until they can get someone down. Shanahan running free here.
Here's the fullback, Jamie Shanahan. Well played, son. He's on centre wing.
Created the loose man.
Jason Dunstall left 50 metres behind him. Oh, Thompson in his first game drops an important mark.
Yeah, just a bit fatigued there, Craig Kelly. He ran a good 70, 80 yards from the back line there to make position there, but he was just fatigued when he got to the fall of the ball.
And he probably didn't have to dive. He just could have almost just sort of slid into it a little bit better than he needed out.
76-64. Hawthorn by 2 goals. Winmar, he's worked pretty hard to come back into this game. To Cook. Lowe needs a mark, and once again he can't come up with one.
Graham and Salmon to compete against it then. Salmon's dropped right back.
Johnny Hassel with the foot speed. Holland, no mark. Coghlan the spoil. Hassel. Now Pritchard.
That could really hurt St Kilda morally. The last 2 times they've gone to Stewie Lowe, Salmon's marked one and Graham's marked the other. And as a midfielder, if you see that happen to Stewie Lowe, your big grabber, well, you'd start to think if we keep pumping it up there, it's not going to happen for us.
Everett's on.
Everett on for Peckett. So a change in the balance for the Saints. They need a mark on the forward line, and at the moment they're not getting it from Stewie Lowe. Gary Lyon, Mark Graham running into the forward line, dragging Stewie down there with him.
Yeah,
look at this.
Now, look, this is an instance here. I was just going to comment on this. With Salmon doing so much damage across half-back and his opposite number, Brett Cook, not doing any down forward, it's almost a case for just playing Cook on Salmon and at least making a contest. And here we have it. He just drifted down from the half-back line. He's been across half-back almost the entire last quarter rather. Just pops in here now, has a shot 35 metres straight in front. And he'd need to be straight in front because his efficiency rate's down at 42% at the moment from 5 kicks, 7 handballs.
You're spot on right, though, because Cook, they've basically been playing opposite ends to each other. So Cook was of the mind that he didn't have to really take care of anybody, and Fish just snuck him behind him.
Yeah, and it's in good hands with a man who's kicked over 500 league goals.
He's just pushed it. You give him a rap, he's pushed it across to the right. So they breathe again, the old Saints, but I think they're going to need 3 goals now, and it's a big ask at the 24-minute mark.
Exactly right, Gary. The old cat's cry is it's a very handy point.
That's the one.
They've got to go down the middle here. There's no time.
24 minutes gone. The Saints need 3 scores. Cripps. Well, it'll be an heroic victory for Hawthorn, just like Melbourne's was on Thursday night.
Now again, Brett Cook playing a short kick here. It's just no use. They look up the ground, there's Salmon, and Brett Cook's only 10 or 15 metres away from Aussie Jones. All they can do now is kick in the Salmon direction, which makes it pretty difficult.
Can Aussie kick one from full back? The pass out wide. Neil. Aussie still going. He might kick one from full back. Up towards half forward. Harvey. I think he let that one get past him. That was pretty clever. To full forward, and Everett's just on the ground for that very purpose.
Stevie Lawrence has got to be very careful. 2 times tonight. That's the 2nd time he's dragged a player down who's marked in front of him, Ned.
Yeah, I was just going to say he was almost lucky to get away with not giving 50 there. But Stewie Lowe, you should have seen the work he did. He's gone backwards and forwards, right out wide, back again, and I think he's a very tight man at the moment. Hasn't got a lot of it.
The Saints desperately need this from Peter Everett. Across the face. And no score, out of bounds.
Craig Kelly, you see Stewie Lowe just snuck in front of Mark Graham there, and Mark Graham just sat 2 metres off the back of him, uses his little run and spring and leap and just punches the ball clear.
Well, you certainly wouldn't want to get on a man-on-man contest with Stewie.
Bit of cramp there from Aussie Jones after that run too.
He did work it hard.
Took its toll.
It's a funny ground like that, isn't it? I mean, most times if you're going to cramp, you tend to cramp on this ground more so than the MCG.
Well, I guess there's a fair bit of ground to cover, so probably makes sense.
They've actually brought the boundary or the dimensions of the ground in a couple of metres over the last 2 years as well.
From the boundary throw in, free kicks and Kilda's way.
This is the work right in front here, and if I said that was a good decision, I'd get my head ripped off with the Hawthorn supporters around here, because I can't believe this.
How did you see that one anyway, Craig?
Well, it's that stupid. I'm allowed to do that now, aren't I? It's a stupid free kick. This ruck contest.
Did you think you were going to get fined $1,500 by the AFL?
Have it.
Now, here's Brett Cook, ex-Fitzroy. He's put it across to the right.
Out in the full? No.
Wouldn't you love to see Stanell's face just as that ball was leaving the boot there?
We didn't make it. Here's that decision.
Here's the free kick.
Please. Oh, yeah, okay.
A little bit.
A little bit, but...
He probably threw his hands up to say, I'm not doing anything, and drew the umpire's attention to it.
Approaching the 27-minute mark, and now it is 2 kicks the difference. The ball is kept in. Hawthorn wanted out, and Cripps is taken out by Scott.
A few of the people starting to leave here. It must be getting a bit cold, or they're giving up.
Yeah, just short of 36,000 was out here tonight, which is a good showing. A St Kilda home game.
Plenty at home watching Sports AFL on Tibbin.
Absolutely.
I think maybe Hawthorn can bottle this up and sew up the 4 premiership points. 27.25 minutes gone.
It's important to get a good win on the board to start with. It really gets the guys rolling along, as Gary would know after Thursday night.
I'd say if Hawthorn get a possession, it'll go straight to the boundary line here.
Cook got a hand to it. Harvey gives chase and pulls it in gloriously. Burke. Now they need a mark on the forward line. Burke straight down there to Lowe. He's got one.
Good grab there.
Well, if Stewie can kick this, it goes back to the centre. Gee, this game is on still.
Went one way, then the other, and just shook Graham a little bit, just enough to get the ball. It's a beautiful kick. I mean, those guys, Berkey and also Harves, they're always going to deliver the ball well, and once it's in front of Stewie, it's a bit hard.
And then isn't it great with the clock up in the corner ticking up rather than down? So we're not quite sure how much time to go.
He's kicked it.
Lowe kicks the goal, he's 3rd. And the Saints within 6 points.
Is there time, Drew?
I always thought Stewie Lowe's a better kick when he has less time. I don't mean this in a rude fashion, but has less time to think about it. If you just use your natural instincts to go straight back off the man on the mark, turn around, line up the goals and think, right, that's the direction, run straight, kick it straight, and it'll go through. And that's what Stewie Lowe does. Don't concern yourself with the mechanics about it. And the time clock, as you were mentioning, Craig Kelly, forced Stewie Lowe to just go back and go through that quick regime.
Well, I wonder whether we can get our first draw of the season in round 1.
Did you see that, Gary?
Yeah, Glenn Coughlin has just committed, well, he's lost the game. He's lost any chance at St Kilda had of winning, at least salvaging some points out of this. He's given Nick Holland a shove into the square, and it's a free kick.
Young at the back, couldn't quite take the mark. There's the side. Well, it's got 6 points.
Well, he would go, he's going to get the biggest pay, I think, young Coughlin, because if St Kilda had any chance at all, they had to win it out of the centre. There's only time for probably 1 or 2 possessions, and unfortunately for him, Hawthorn got the ball from a free kick at centre-half forward.
Tell us what happened there, Gary.
Well, they were just jostling on the square there, Dermot, and he gave him a bit of a nudge. Holland went into the square, which is a free kick, of course, to Hawthorn. Now, if Holland was to go into the square of his own, under his own steam, that then would have been a free to St Kilda, but because he was pushed in, it was a free to Hawthorn, and any chance of winning the game goes out the window.